in St. Clairsville, Ohio for round 12 of the AMSOIL GNCC Racing Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. Going to be interesting to see, will anybody step up today and stop Caleb Russell as he charges through the field once again on his way to a 4th national championship.
And thank you very much, Megawatt, as we welcome you to the starting line of this Polaris Ace Powerline Park GNCC from high atop Paradise Hill here in beautiful St. Clairsville, Ohio. And now it's time to meet our starting lineup for this Powerline Park GNCC. Rolling to the line first today, on the verge of his 4th consecutive GNCC title. He was born right here in the great Buckeye State out of course, Kingston, Ohio. Now calling Boonville, North Carolina home on an FMF KTM Factory Racing KTM, the #1, Caleb Russell. Rolling to the line second today. He took the win here 1 year ago. On board, the #114 from Australia, a former GNCC champion on a Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Bel-Ray Husqvarna, Josh Strang. Rolling to the line third today in points. Aboard the #7. Hailing from Cookeville, Tennessee on a Westfield Power Sports KTM, presented by Moose Racing, Jordy Ashburn. Fresh off 2 consecutive 4th place finishes. He is 4th in points, a former XC2 Pro Lights champion as well as former National Enduro champion. Aboard the 514 from Belton, South Carolina on a KTM SRT KTM, Stu Baylor. Rolling to the line next. He is 5th in points, riding aboard the #5. He hails from Williamstown, Ohio, but still calls Ohio home. On a Rocky Mountain KR4 Moose Racing Husqvarna, Bad Thad Duval. It's from West Virginia. Rolling to the line next, aboard the #212 from Duval, Washington. On an MCS Racing Suzuki, backed by Obermeyer Suzuki, Kenda, MX Tech, and Fly Racing. He's rough, he's rowdy, Ricky Russell. Rolling to the line next, aboard the #314. A former XC2 Pro Lights Class champion himself, out of Belton, South Carolina on Infab and Pro Yamaha, Grant Baylor. Rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the #4 from Crown Point, Indiana on a JCR Honda, Chris Falk. Rolling to the line next, aboard the #113 machine. He hails from Jefferson, Georgia, a 4-time National Enduro and quite possibly looking at his 5th National Enduro Championship on an FMF KTM Factory Racing KTM, Russell Bobbitt. Rolling to the line next, aboard the 116, visiting from France. He rides aboard a Beta Module back Beta machine. He is a former 2-time World Enduro champion, Johnny Albert. Riding on board the #410 from Birdsboro, Pennsylvania on a Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Husky, Andrew DeLong. Rolling to the line next, he is one of Ohio's own. From Logan, Ohio on a KTM SRT KTM, Corey Buttrick. And over the course of the next few moments, friends, you're going to see the checks being handed out. Each one of these riders that are going to be participating in the ISDE here in Navarre, Spain, coming up October 11th through the 16th, will each receive a $500 check from the GNCC Racing Nation. Our trophy team of Caleb Russell, Josh Strang, Thad Duvall, and Ryan Sipes, and of course our junior trophy team featuring Grant Baylor, Trevor Bollinger, and Stu Baylor. And representing the GNCC from Australia and receiving an extra $500 toward his efforts as well will be the 114 of the freight train himself, Josh Strang, as the machines warm themselves up and the riders warm themselves up, I should say, here for this Ohio round of racing. The second time we have graced the Buckeye State here in 2016. And this one, my friends, may be one of the most memorable for a lot of these folks, in the sense that a number of championships could be crowned here today, and many could keep those championship hopes alive depending on how things work out in their favor today. I know we are looking at the possibility of crowning Caleb Russell and his 4th championship title here today, and as Josh Strang pointed out, he does have still a glimmering of hope, a small shimmering light at the end of the tunnel that he is working his way toward right now. But Josh knows he's got a long way to get there as well, and he's got to hope for a lot of things to fall in his favor. Of course, with 2 rounds of racing left, and this penultimate round probably being the key one for him at this particular point, that is what he is hoping for, not banking on, but hoping for, at least in his favor today. But at the same time, he just wants to come out here and win races the rest of the season. And we are less than 1 minute away, folks, less than a minute away from going GNCC racing here from the Powerline Park. And Ricky Towery has began the starting sequence already, as we can see him now getting ready to signal these riders that we are down to the 30-second mark as the blue flag comes out. Shut them down, guys. Shut them down. Shut them down. Shut them down. All right, folks, and I got to ask you, now that we reach this point and this juncture, Ohio, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Well, come on, Ohio. I know we got a bigger heart for GNCC racing than that. Look at all the people standing around this racetrack right now and this starting line. I'm going to ask you one more time, and I think you're going to show me the love I'm looking for, but can you do it for me, folks? Are you ready to go Powerline Park GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at a Polaris Ace Powerline Park GNCC. Kickstarts are down. Riders into the first turn. They jockey it all out, and it's the 114 of the Aussie. Josh Strang in the freight train up front. It's Westfield Power Sports KTM rider Jordan Ashburn opening up in the number 2 spot now as we head down to the XC2 Pro Lights. Row number 2, Trevor Bollinger, Craig DeLong, Sam Evans, Zach Hayes, Luke Parsons, Nathan Thornhill, Austin Lee, Josh Cho. Also looking at Harrison Helmick, Michael Witkowski, Vance Francis, Ryder Lampy, Mark Oresco, Hunter Neuwirth, Connor Karkowski, Lane Michael, Tegan Temple, Nick Davis, Benjamin Kelly, and Mason Atherton, all ready to roll. 10 seconds. And they're off. Green flag waves on that one, man. That seemed like an eternity for that 10 seconds, no doubt about it. It's the number 11 of Craig DeLong, little brother of Andrew, up at that XC1 Pro class in the 410. He grabs the hole shot and an extra $100 and our All Balls Wiseco Hole Shot Award here today. 250A bike coming up next. This is row number 3. Chris Vendetti, Eric Douglas, Andrew Bogg, Sean Benhart, Brewer Cawley, Evan Earl, Cameron Sisk, Ryan Slopko, Alex Teagarden, Matthew Kiefer, Cody Lazenboy. Also looking at Zachary Church, Josh Farrell, Zach Nolan, and Rodney Kale. 10 seconds. And on the inside, Zach Nolan out of Masontown, West Virginia. Big winner in his hometown last weekend. He's going to open up with the lead again. Nolan And look at that, got about 10 bike lengths heading into turn 3. Man, he is on a mission here today in Ohio. As we go down to the 4-stroke A lights class, we got Braxton McGee, Hunter Shelton, Drew Bolton, Colin Keegan, Christopher McManus, Cole Madsen, Russell Smith, Jason Smalley, Dustin Simpson, Tyler Brand of Sam Forrester, Larry Sylvia, Kopi Baggert, Tristan Landrum, and Nick O'Brien in 10 seconds. 7:04, Tristan Lander, man, he is the whole shot expert. Morgantown Power Sports sponsored. It's the 100 though of Colin Keegan out of Coal Center, Pennsylvania, still in the lead. Rocky Mountain Moose and Maxis, as well as Amsoil Banks rider there. But A class coming up next. We got Dylan Rash, Vincent Smith, Brady Myers, Dual Murphy, Spencer Hoyt, Corey Neely, Mark Turpek, Zach Tussle, Jeremy Taylor, James Steiner, Michael Pillard, Tyler Soriano, Dustin Ulrich, Zach Johnson, Zach Clampeth, Alec Witkowski, Connor Smith, and Charlie Morrison in 10 seconds. Mad dash through that first turn. It's the Yamaha pilot, number 327 out front in this one. That's Jeremy Taylor out of Canton, Ohio, 22-year-old Yamaha pilot with us today as we go down to the 200A class now. And it's Jace Knopp, Jesse Ansley, Clint Schaefer, Brandon Hayes, Zachary Hugel, and Chase Hayes all ready to roll next as Ricky Tyree lets them know it's time to go in 10 seconds. .722, Chase Hayes out of Sumter, South Carolina on a Carolina Browns RV, Kenda KTM, getting a great jump there off the line, but it's a 317 of Jay Snopp out of Mineral Wells, West Virginia, and a TNS Trucking AOMC Green Electric back machine, actually grabbing the early lead as we go to the Senior A40 Plus class. Shotgun Sean Remington, Harry Englehart, Todd Marrow, Frank Tussle, Rob Brown, and Bob Bergman, all ready to roll. 10 seconds. And there goes the pro man, Rob Brown, 495. You're going to pick him out all around the racetrack today. But there's the 46 machine. Let's see who that is. 353, Todd Morrow from Sharon, PA. But look at this, man. We see Shotgun Sean Remington and Rob Brown battling it out there. Sean Remington on that Infab and Pro Yamaha supported machine. The Vet A class coming up next. Joe Marsh, Jesse Arsenal, Fabian Barada, Big, Jerem Steiner, Nathan Allering, Ryan M. and Joe Dean, Chris Levin, and Tom Truxell in 10 seconds. Kick starts down on this one for the Vet A class now as they roll into that first turn. The 62 of Jesse Arsenal from Coventry, Connecticut. Getting a good jump off the line. Let's see what happens at the second turn. Looks like he's going to make it through and be your early leader. So Jesse on it, Junior AB, 25-plus class. Adam Kidd, Ian Smith, Mason Stevens, Kevin Simmons, also Joseph McCarty, Brandon Peterson, Josh Lewis, Lucas Towery, Lane Hosler, Levi Kuntz, Andrew France, and Josh Keys. 10 seconds. .426, a great jump off the line. Joseph McCarty out of Mount Clair, West Virginia, and he could carry that through the first turn. Uh-oh, here comes company. I missed that number. That was a 111 Yamaha ride. And that was one of the few Yamahas. I don't know if that was Josh Keys or quite possibly Brandon Peterson out there, but one of those two likely it was, as a 250B class is coming up next. James Harschenberger, Ethan Pazinski, Timmy Steiner, also Matthew Davis, Kyle Prismont, Tyler Scott, Eli Cradleball, Max Horesco, Jonathan Harker, Ashton Glass, Michael Adam, Gage Collins, Noah Stevens, Aaron Lehman, and Billy Saglia. Less than 10 seconds to go now for the 250B class. And that's the Liga, I believe. They finally change the spelling on Billy Saliga's name. 228, and that's something 84, possibly 64. That'd be Max Horesco. Horesco from Indianola, Pennsylvania, 200B class coming up next. Teague Securo, Johnny Manera, Nathan Pinkerton, Adam Parker, Randy Smith, Cash Jacobs, Nathan Davis, Austin Glass, Hank Hayes, Mike Blackwell, and Dylan Bartlett. 10 seconds. Teague Securo out of Fairmont, West Virginia, getting about a bike length's lead heading into that first turn. Oh, turn 2, though, it's a little tighter. We see the 357 right there. Johnny Manera out of Millville, New Jersey on the Hilo Concepts Factory Connection Pro Taper Machine as they continue to dice it out for that spot. Vet B class, Bill Zavindi, Larry Hopper, Stephen Young, Jared Hoppin, Adam Glass, Wayne Farnsworth, Carson Meisenheimer, Wayne Skidmore, and Josh Nickel. 10 seconds. And they're off. Wow, look at that. Like a shot out of a barrel right there on that 15 machine. We'll see if we can get a number on that one as he rounds the first turn now. That's a 103. Bill Savindi from Cabot, Pennsylvania on NPR suspension, true MX Fly racing bag machine. Open B class now as we get set to roll. It's going to be Josh Atkins, Devin Newkirk, Michael Davis, Grant Lehman, Dominic Jarvis, Richard Carnes, Devin Dishong, Craig Oberholzer, Ryan McManus, along with, looks like Clint Burkfield, Kyle Statler, Matt Bruffy. 10 seconds. Craig Daft, Zach Perry, and Jared Shiley. And the 807, Craig Daft out of Elkins, West Virginia, jockeying for position right now. The 812 of Zach Perry out of Myersdale, Pennsylvania. Looks like the Daft machine will take over the early lead in this one. And that's the open B as we go next. We are looking at senior B class riders. Leon Williver, Mike Kochman, also looking at Jeff Lynn, Steve Leggett, Christian Brumbass, Shane Kuglers, Gene Swidwa, and Darren Darmos. 10 seconds. And they're off. And we got a bait out. Whoa, no we don't. We got the 150 out front. That's Mike Kochman out of Powell, Ohio on the Copper-Smith Power Sports Dunlop Tires Bell Helmets back machine. That's your senior B class. This should be our 4-stroke B lights class. Getting set to roll last, Justin Murphy, Britton Laird, Hunter Williams, Bolton Baroth, Troy Lieberman, Cody Johnson, Brendan Poling, Sam Stamper, Eric Ross, and Austin Legg. And 10 seconds. And the kick starts are down for the final start here this morning. And 97, Justin Murphy out of Morgantown, West Virginia, Outlaw Motorsports FMF, Ken the Tire back ride, getting some major drive up through that long start stretch and is able to establish himself as your early leader out there. And wow, we got ourselves a great battle already starting to unfold, and we'll be able to check in with what's going on. Can Caleb Russell claim championship number 4 here today? Will somebody be able to stop this man on a mission? Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Maxxis Tires. Here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying Quick Cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back here to GNCC Live on RacerTV. Joining us here at the Powerline Park, GNCC. We're back with action here. We did see our starts. Now we're down to our mud hole. Fred, as we're watching this here, you know, we can see that already this famous mud jump here at St. Clairsville. This has been a part of this since, you know, way back in the day when you know, we started racing here, I believe in 2001, if I'm not mistaken. And it's almost always been a part of this series and this specific track here. How about it? I mean, you've raced here before with this mud jump in it. You know, it's just a we have some creek jumps, but this is the only place we have a jump where you kind of jump and land in the mud, and it can get pretty challenging.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we've been doing this for 16 years now, and as you can see, it gets bigger and bigger every year. This is a place everybody wants to come watch. It's a nice, fun jump. It's nice and watery and muddy, and they build it every year, and it's always a great excitement spot, Johnny. No matter what, who it is, or I mean, whether you're Adam McGill or whether you're the slowest guy, it doesn't really matter. The jump always has a little bit of a challenge to everybody. You can see right now we've got our pros coming for the very first lap here.
Yeah, and these guys make it look a little easier, obviously, their skill set. It was Josh Strang jumping out to an early lead with Jordan Ashburn in second, Ricky Russell third. There we see that was our visiting champion, Johnny O'Bear of the Factory Beta team. There we see Andrew DeLong, Russell Bobbitt, Chris Bach, all working their way through. And everybody was kind of staying close together here early. I'm sure that we'll see these guys separating. But it's an interesting thing about this track here, Fred, is, you know, there's not, we've got the mud jump here, and then obviously we've got the FMF PowerPoint section, which I don't know if we have a camera down there. And here comes XC2, and it was, oh, look at this. It was Craig DeLong with the early lead, but look at this. Lane Michael on the gas, able to work his way around his Coastal Racing teammate as they got down to the mud jump there.
And you can see, Johnny, by this position, they're actually jumping the whole jumper. Yesterday, the quads were kind of landing in that hard spot and then accelerating away, and actually made a hole right there. So these leaders are actually having to jump that hole. They're not able to short jump it like the quads were yesterday.
Yeah, you know, it was interesting. I had some issues myself yesterday and only completed one lap. Oh, look at this. This guy. Oh, you can see, and that's the cardinal rule of the St. Clairsville mud jump. Never go short. You'd rather go long. You definitely don't want to get stuck there, and I'm sure we're going to see here real soon. We're going to start seeing some guys roll off into that, and that's when things really get interesting because those bikes sink quick. That's just that goopy Ohio mud.
You know, you're talking about rolling off. You never want to roll off a hill like that because when you roll off, there's going to be a big hole at the bottom. You're going to end up flipping over. So the greatest thing about it is these are the same toe strap guys that were there yesterday for the quads. They're back today. They brought more friends with them. They're there to help you get out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the famous GNCC Mud Fleas, I mean, these guys have been a part of the series. Not these specific guys, but that group, the Mud Fleas.
They're all the same. Every track we go to, you have that group of people. You know, and this is a replay from earlier just to show you really how the fans join in and help out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and this is one of the few forms of motorsports where the fans can actually get involved and help out. Oh my goodness! You can see that's, there's going to be a meme, I promise you, tomorrow morning on Facebook, and it's going to say Facebook, or it's going to say on Facebook there'll be a meme and it'll say GNCC Racing Creek Jump. You're doing it wrong, and that's going to be that guy upside down. He's okay though.
And that poor guy Johnny right there. If he'd have went a foot to the right, nice hard ground. You never know when you go to jump. You're committed. You go, and it's happens what happens, you know.
Fred, we talked about that as soon as the race started yesterday. First thing we had to talk about was not rolling and going long on that one, and I can promise you, Johnny, as you mentioned, right off the edge of that thing just kept getting deeper and deeper. And Fred, the first three riders we saw yesterday, one of them being Adam McGill, suffering that same type of consequence.
Well, you know, yesterday things were a little bit different. It's kind of firmed up now. It was a little wetter, and they didn't run it for the morning yesterday. So I can tell you firsthand, when we hit that the first lap, we were kind of all on a train, and it was one of those deals where we knew that it was going to be soft. But when I saw McGill land and I saw his feet go up over his head, and he did nothing wrong. He did exactly what he needed to do. That was just how soft that landing was. You know, after 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 people land, it kind of starts to, it gets better for a little while. Look at this. This guy's on a mission. The number one, Caleb Russell, and we're getting to see it live on RacerTV. The pass for the lead, but Josh Strang sneaks back around the inside. Russell was one of the last machines we saw off that starting line, and Josh Strang with the whole shot. Fred, what do you think? Caleb Russell on a mission to prove a point here today, or what?
Yes, sir. You know, we're back in Ohio. This is his house, as you would say. You know, Caleb Russell's tough here in Ohio, and Caleb ran it in there hard to pass Josh Strang there, but Josh Strang was smart and just let him go by and then hug the inside. So it's going to be a good race for sure here. You got these big open fields, which is kind of going to be like what we got 6 days coming up, so it's good practice for our American guys going over there. And that rock section they went through there, Johnny, made it look like nothing.
Yeah, I was actually down there this morning during the 10 a.m. race, and those rocks are quite a bit gnarlier than they look on camera. You know, about 3/4 of the way through, it's nice and easy, and then all of a sudden there's a couple big ones. There we did just see Johnny Albert, so good to see him hanging in up there early. We did see him get our whole shot at the last race, and then he oh my goodness, look at this. Lane Michael already up and through quite a few of the XC1 riders. I can tell you right now, there's your overall leader. There's no way that was 1 minute.
Yep, absolutely.
That's kind of like what Lane Michael did at the last race. He started in the second row, caught some leaders, and was actually the overall leader last week.
Absolutely, he was leading early.
He referenced that this morning while I was talking to Rodney on that Pro Row interview, and I tell you, Johnny Geller, exact same scenario that we saw last week.
You know, and I could be wrong. We did have the camera pan away a few times, but Fred, I don't think we've seen another XC2 rider yet.
No, I think you're for sure right, John. I think Lane Michael is on a mission today. You know, he tried to make it happen last race, and it fell a little bit short. And this weekend, he's freaking going after it. He's gonna get that big lead and get a little cushion and see if he can't carry it all the way to the finish line.
Stu Baylor was absolutely covered in some black muck, and I did hear from our good buddy Joey Maurer. He was headed down, and he had a backpack full of fun with him, and they were going down to the mud pit. He said, there's Craig DeLong shaking his head, does not look happy, got to be frustrated getting that early XC2 hole shot, and watching Lane Michael not only get around him, but pull away and pull a big gap here early. Lane Michael on a mission. You know, Fred, you referenced he came up a little short last weekend. Megawatt was interviewing him on the podium, and I got to tell you, that was one dejected young man in second place. He was upset. He was angry. He didn't know what had happened. He didn't understand how he let that one slip away or how it got away from him. And I tell you what, he's making a statement here early saying, I'm not going to let that happen again.
And Johnny, on that point right there, there was a lot of Facebook stuff, some social media stuff going on. Maybe Lane was a sore loser. No, absolutely not. When I talked to Lane and his dad the next morning, Lane wasn't sure if he got the wrong pit board, if they had the wrong timing on their watch, never being a sore loser, but just didn't know, like you said, how that one got away from him and what maybe the miscommunication was.
Yeah, he went there to win that race. He thought he had it covered, and it was just a little something happened. He wasn't mad at anybody. He was mad at himself. That's who he was mad at. It wasn't being a poor sport, saying this or that. He wanted to win in that race that bad.
Well, I think that's, in today's day and age, we've seen it already with, two of our championship contenders in XC1 already this year with Josh Strang and Caleb Russell. We referenced at one of our earlier rounds. Social media, it's different. It's difficult to convey inflection. It's difficult to convey tone of voice. Obviously Trevor Bollinger made a post there. Many people jumped in, and that's kind of the other problem. Trevor Bollinger, Lane Michael, two good guys battling not only for race wins, but ultimately for this XC2 championship. They respect each other on the track. They race each other hard. But I think a lot of other people get involved when you post things on social media, and it takes things purely out of context. I think the point here to take away from this is these guys raced hard. Lane was not happy about losing that race, but he did congratulate Trevor on the podium. And, Trevor obviously earned that one, and we'll see what comes here today. Trevor not getting a good start, so he's got himself in a little bit of a hole, but, man, did we see him come back at our last round, so no reason to think that he couldn't possibly do it again here today.
Well put, Johnny, and that's the point we were wanting to express. That's the point we were wanting to make, and you just put it in perfect words and summed it up for us.
And you can see right here, too, I don't know if you guys noticed while we were talking earlier, that you can actually go around this rock pile. It's way longer, but we saw a couple guys actually go all the way around the rock pile instead of coming through, Johnny. Yeah,
and I was watching during the 10 a.m. race, and more of the riders were going around than through. And here's why, Fred. I was actually watching, and unless you get through that rock pile clean, which obviously these are, so far we've seen our pro riders, our XC1 and XC2 pro riders, and then we've seen like our Open A, 250A and 4-stroke A lights guys. But now as we get kind of into a little bit further back in our A riders, there we see Braxton McGee battling with another rider. I don't know if that's a rider in his class. Braxton McGee won our 4-stroke, actually second in our 4-stroke A lights class and second overall amateur at our last round. These guys went around, and it's not that much longer. It's safer, but surely if one of the other riders would have gone through there, they would have made the pass.
Yeah, I think it's definitely quicker to go through the rocks, but like you said, if there's a big little pile up in there, going around it would definitely be better.
Johnny, I got to ask you, when you take a look right now at that rock garden and the conditions surrounding it, how close to perfect are we looking at compared to Thursday? I mean, it just looks ideal right now, man.
I'll tell you what, I actually received a phone call early on Friday morning from Landon Wolf, one of the other GNCC or one of the other XC1 ATV guys, and he made it clear to me. He said, "Look, man, if you're not already on your way here," which I wasn't, he said, "why don't you hang out at home for a couple hours?" He said, "This place is a mess. Every vehicle that comes in here, even if it doesn't have a trailer, is being towed by a bulldozer." So to look around and see, obviously now we're looking at our mud section. Is that a chainsaw, Fred? I have now seen it all. The Euro, enthusiasm has made it to St. Clairsville. Chugging an adult beverage
this
with
guy
a
here is
chainsaw.
going to do a big belly flop like Stu Baylor paid that guy to yesterday.
Oh, and they cut away. I hope we didn't miss
Oh,
it.
no. As Johnny mentioned, that's that Euro flavor coming to America right now, the bladeless chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. You
Nate,
go to
now,
Europe, and that's all you hear.
both of you guys longtime veterans. I've ridden this track many times, but Johnny, overall, 1 to 10, what kind of conditions did you have yesterday as far as St. Clairsville is concerned?
Well, unfortunately, I can only speak about the first 8 miles. I had an issue yesterday, so.
I'm not laughing at you.
But I did get out and check out some of the track during our race, and then I pedaled quite a bit of it after the race with Becca Sheets before we headed back to prep for the morning race today. Last night we did check it out, and then this morning I was out pedaling all over the world. So the dirt is great. It's very possible that the fields have never been in better shape here, because the thing with St. Clairsville, the thing with the dirt here is it's that Ohio clay, and when it gets dry, it gets real hard pack, it gets dusty, it kind of blows apart. When it's wet, it gets really slick and it dips out. We're kind of in that middle right now. On Friday it was really wet, Thursday like you said, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of the rains kind of hit here Friday. Actually, it was a couple of inches from what I heard at least.
Yeah, allegedly about 3 inches, Johnny, during that rainstorm. And Fred, when we take a look, Johnny's mentioning, a lot of times it's silt and talcum powder. I don't know that I've really seen these fields look better, Fred.
Oh, there's that belly flop. Yeah. Look, his cigarette's
still lit. It's still lit.
Folks,
He's still puffing.
GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. We bring you not only the racing action, but we bring you the lifestyle that goes along with GNCC.
Hey,
And there's one proud parent at home right now.
There
That's
may be
my kid right there.
there may be a collapsed lung right there we're looking at, too.
If you want to be a GNCC super fan, the bar has been set. Work your way down there to that Powerline mud hole if you are, in fact, here at the facility. If you're not, if you're within roughly 2 hours and 40 minutes driving distance, you can make it here before this one ends, and you can get down there and get yourself on Racer TV.
I want to tell you, he's a little slow to get up, man. I want to tell you something. That was a little more of an impact than he planned on.
Oh.
But as far as we're concerned, priceless.
Yeah, and first, as bad as what this mud hole looks, and this is what all the spectators come to see and do, there's another bad mud hole at the bottom where Joey Maurer was at down there. That's another bad one. We got Gus's hole, but the fields, I don't think I've ever seen the fields this good. This total traction, it's like powder cake. It's like cake mix out there. Here comes our leaders by right now.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a technical difficulty there, but it looks like it was Caleb Russell leading. I believe that was Josh Strang in second. Thad Duvall now up in the mix. Ricky Russell still there. And all these guys, looks like there was Jordan Ashburn as well. Didn't mean to skip over him. Looks like there was quite a few of those guys, nose to tail. Fred, in conditions like this, when it's this slick, and there we see, now we go a little bit further back through the pack. There we see Chris Bach, Russell Bobbitt, and that's a 2-stroke behind him, and I think that might be Johnny Aubert, and it is our World Enduro visiting rider. When the conditions are slick like they are here, you've raced here. I watched you on that Monster Energy Kawasaki years ago, and I can remember seeing you out there battling. Look at this.
Lane Michaels on a mission.
Wow. He is really up there in corrected time. I got to believe when they check in, he's got to be our overall leader. Well, wait, we'll see. We're looking at just a couple minutes away, but what's it like when you're riding closely trying to battle people in these slick conditions out there, Fred?
Well, out there in the slick conditions like this, Johnny, from you guys yesterday, you guys polish it so much that it's almost like an ice skating rink out there. So we actually have to get in your ruts, and it's so much throttle control. We're actually trying to find traction out there. Where you guys got 2 wheels, you're making traction. We have to actually try to find traction out there. So we're racing really close nose to tail, and that's one of the few sections where we just went, Johnny, where there's actually a lot of mud where you can actually get sprayed and get muddy. Most of the other parts of the track are all like we're seeing here. They're nice, big, loamy fields with just a little bit of mud that really doesn't fling up and cover you, other than the new bike-only part that they put in down at the bottom of the hill.
Johnny, the word on the podium this morning, Johnny, from all of our winners, including Becca and stuff, throttle control today. Very critical to manage your corners and watch that momentum. As you heard, Casey Martinez losing the front end, Brooke losing the front end. Several people just having a small tip over, and in today's conditions, that leader's gone.
Hey, I tell you what, guys, I hate to jump in, but I made my way down here to the Coastal Racing pits, and a lot of you folks might have noticed that maybe the 264 of Brian Sipes was not present on the starting line, and many of you met and greeted with him prior to the start of the race today. He was dressed, he was ready, he was on his way over to the starting line, and he and another rider collided. In that collision, Ryan went down pretty hard from what I understand. He's kind of knocked himself silly, maybe even out for a few seconds. He's having troubles remembering what happened there a few moments before that, but regardless, we just want to let you folks know that what was going on with Ryan. We hope that everything is going to be okay, and if we get an update on his condition, we'll let you know, but I think everything's okay, just knocked a little bit silly right now. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks for that update, Rodney. And as we're watching here coming through the finish line, we'll obviously wish the best to Ryan Sipes. Glad to hear that he is mostly okay. Had a little bit of an issue there, so we'll get updates as they come in. But Caleb Russell leading the way. Looks like Josh Strang there still in second.
Jordan Ashburn.
Oh, Jordan Ashburn in second. Yep. It was kind of a mix-up. They all came through there so close together. So it was Russell, Ashburn, and here they come, and it is still Ashburn in second. Fred, it kind of gets overlooked sometimes. There is Josh Strang in third, Thad Duvall in fourth, Ricky Russell fifth, and boy, Ricky Russell seems to be riding with a little extra confidence this weekend after that podium last week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that podium's really helped him, and it's the end of the year. Everybody's looking for rides, everybody's looking for support, so you're only as good as your last race, and everybody remembers these last few races, Johnny, so he knows he's got to get some good rides in if he wants to get some help for next year. And, and this kind of track is like yesterday. They were kind of nose to tail all day long, the quads were, so I look for these guys to be the same way. I don't know if Caleb's going to be able to break away and run when he's got those three guys that are together. They're actually working together to stay with him.
Look at this. Lane Michael just checked in. We'll refresh our screen here and see if he is, in fact, our overall leader. Lane Michael is your overall leader with a lap time of 27 minutes, 33 seconds. Caleb Russell, second overall, with a 27-minute, 52 second. So that gives it an elapsed time of, I believe that would be 21 seconds. No, I was right, 19 seconds faster for Lane Michael. So Lane Michael, your overall leader for the second week in a row, leading this thing early. He did it for, I believe it was 2 laps at our last race in Masontown. And then this week he's doing it at least on lap 1. We'll see if he's able to hold on to that, or, Caleb Russell's probably going to be thinking, man, I keep getting pit boards when I'm winning that say I'm not.
Johnny, it's not unusual for an XC2 guy to be in the lead right at the front, because the front group's kind of just, they're breaking trail, they're kind of just hanging out, where an XC2 guy, he's already racing. He's trying to get to the front, so it's not unusual to see an XC2 guy in the overall position at this time, but can they keep it till the finish? It's really hard for them to do that.
Absolutely. Charging early is something the younger guys do, and we've talked about that so many times. It seems that later in the race is when we see our XC1 guys really pour it on. They seem to have the pace for 3 hours, but watch this. There's Craig DeLong, I believe that was Tegan Temple, Mike Wachowski, and I tell you what, the rider on the charge is the number 10, TB10, Trevor Bollinger. He's worked his way up through several of these guys just in the last couple of miles. And Fred, what we kind of just barely caught a glimpse there of on screen. Speaking of on screen, these guys are going to be working their way through the mud hole here probably in under a minute or so, so we'll watch and we'll stay tuned for that. But Fred, I don't know if you saw or not, it looked like Trevor Bollinger was charging the insides, trying to take lines away from the guys in front of him. He might have a sense of urgency knowing that Lane Michael is out front getting away, and he doesn't want to let that gap open up. At one point last race, it was well over a minute, and we'll have to see what it is right now. As we look, it is Lane Michael leading. Second place in that XC2 class all the way back is Craig DeLong, 11th overall, so 10 overall positions. Fred, look at that, a minute and 10 seconds from Lane Michael back to Craig DeLong. So that's something. Trevor Bollinger, Craig DeLong, the rest of those guys, they need to get on the gas if they don't want to let Lane Michael get away.
Yeah, if Trevor Bollinger's got any chance of catching Lane Michael the way he's riding right now, he's going to have to start making things happen. He's going to have to start passing right now, because you cannot give Lane Michael that much of a lead on the first lap.
So, speaking from a racer standpoint, Fred, as you look at this weekend, this is a rarity here that we have back-to-back weekends. So normally we have riders, they get to go home, they completely re-prep, obviously their machines, but also their bodies, also their minds. How do you think it plays differently? Obviously you had years and years of supercross and motocross experience where you guys were back-to-back-to-back-to-back weekends. How does that play in when you have 6 days of prep rather than 14? And specifically, how would that relate to Lane Michael last week, thinking he had that one in the bag, thinking he was going to win it, and then all of a sudden on the last few laps losing that win? Do you think that's still in the back of his mind? Is that still driving him at this point here today?
Oh, I'm sure it's still a nightmare for Lane Michael. Every time he goes to bed and wakes up, he's still thinking about that race. There's no doubt about that. But these guys are in such good shape, Johnny, as like you know yourself. That little bit of time off is enough. And here we see Caleb Russell right now coming to the famous mud hole jump and making it look easy. You can see he just jumped the whole thing, landed on the hard ground. There's Josh Strang in second. Jordan Ashburn in third now, and Thad Duvall was 4th, and Ricky Russell in 5th. So we had a little bit of change up in between 1st and 2nd. But getting back to your question, Johnny, 4 days off, 3 days off is enough for these guys. These guys are in such good shape. They don't need any more time to rest. Their mechanics are hard at work. They're putting new parts. They're getting the bikes like brand new. So this short time is actually probably better because Lane Michaels got that fire burning still. He hasn't forgot anything from the past weekend, so it's probably helping him this weekend.
Fred, that's an interesting point. I got to ask you, Johnny, is it harder when you guys go do a local race, like in between rounds, when there is some time, or would you guys just rather boom, 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 you know, because that's the intensity level you guys are conditioned to and you're waiting for the next round, but is it easier to have some time off, or is it easier to just hit up the next round?
You know, honestly, for me personally, I think from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint, I like the racing back-to-back weekends. It's great. You kind of keep in the groove. You know, if you have a good weekend, you feel like you get to keep that momentum rolling. If you have a bad weekend, you feel like you get a chance to redeem yourself right away. So it's funny. You can play both sides of that coin. But from the wearing many hats standpoint, this week was a nightmare for me. You know, having to prep race bikes and everything else that goes along with it, you know, it was a tough week. I mean, it was back-to-back weeks. We do it at the beginning of the season in Florida, but everybody's fresh. You know, the bikes are fresh. Everything's, you know, and Florida's not really hard on equipment. 2 weeks ago in Masontown, I mean, that race was hard on equipment. It tore up everything. And then to have, you know, 6 days to come home, wash, re-prep, you know, prep yourself mentally, physically, it was tough, but you know, it's something we were all aware of. We knew the schedule all year long, and everybody came here ready to play, and the best, the cream always rises to the top.
And I like the fact that you wear many hats, because a lot of people listen have no idea what your roles are from Thursday to Sunday. You're a part of almost each and every segment of RacerTV, of the WXC, of the quad racing, of course. So I'm with you. I always would have liked to keep it going, keep that momentum going, or if I did make a big mistake, man, that was time for redemption.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, this really is a heartbreaker here, Fred. We see, you know, these guys work so hard, speaking about prep, speaking about the short turnaround time. You know, this team, a new team this year on the bike side of things, you know, they've done an amazing job coming in here with a top-notch team. Ryan Sipes has been up there battling for wins, battling for podiums. You know, he's had a really solid season. To see that bike sitting on the stand there in the pits, it's a real heartbreaker. And
also, too, Johnny, you know, we're leaving to go to Spain. He's leaving on Monday to go to Spain to defend something that no other American's ever done. He has won the ISTE overall, so he's coming back to defend his title, and hopefully, you know, he did get a little bit rattled there, so hopefully he'll be okay, Johnny, where he can actually get on the plane for Spain and go.
Yeah, and I think at this point, Fred, you know, you've got a great point. You know, obviously with, you know, Ryan Sipes is here. He wants to race. You can see these Coastal guys down at the mud hole. They were likely already down there before this even happened, you know, right before the race. So, you know, they're probably wondering where their rider's at. Obviously, they've been told on the radio. But a great call on the part of Coastal and obviously on the part of the ISDE U.S. team to, you know, to let him sit out today, to find out exactly where he's at physically, mentally, to prepare for kind of the bigger stage. I mean, obviously, GNCC is in our, you know, from what we can see is the biggest off-road series in the world, certainly in the United States. But that ISDE, the Americans, all the teams, they take a lot of pride in going there and doing well. Last year, as you pointed out, he was the first American ever to win the individual overall. So to be able to do that, you know, you've got to be in tip-top condition. So we're going to see, you know, if he can get himself ready and righted for that, and potentially do that again. And just here, like you said, they're flying out tomorrow.
It's our motorcycle Olympics is what it is. You know, it takes the best riders of all the countries, and we all come together and race and see who wins individual and as a team overall. And we've got a little feature clip here coming up to explain a little bit about the ISDE.
This is like our Olympics of off-road, so to be chosen for the team is a huge honor, and it's a lot of fun for me to go to a different country and hang out with these guys that I'm racing against most of the time, and then we go over there and we're actually a team and get to hang out and, you know, have a lot of fun together. I just want to go and be solid because the team has a really good shot to win it as a team, and they've never done it before as a team, so it'd be cool to have another year of another first, you know, have Team USA win it, and as long as we can be smart, stay on two wheels, and we can all ride good enough. There's no question about that. It's just having everything kind of go our way, and it'll be good. Looking forward to it. It's a fun line to kind of tow, seeing how much you can get away with, and I think my motocross background helps with that a lot, is that sprint speed and, you know, hey, go fast. All right, let's go. You know, rather than, hey, you got 3 hours, go fast. Well, you know, you can't do that for 3 hours. You can't ride like you do in one of those special tests. So it's a whole different format, but I really enjoy it. I like it a lot.
Getting to go to ISD again, you know, it's a really fun event. you get to race guys that you normally don't see all season, and you get to see how you stack up against the best in the world. So yeah, it's usually a good mix of great riders, and we usually have a good time. We got a good shot at wrapping up the championship tomorrow, and if you would have told me I could have done it here, I would have said, it'd be really tough. I just need to score a handful of points if Strang wins, and takes the pressure off, especially going to 6 days. And I got hurt at 6 days last year, just kind of a fluke thing. But if I still want to win, and I've got 8 race wins on the season, most in a single year. I'm tied with Yuha at 9. So if I can go out win the next 2 races, I'll have the most in a single season. So. There's always something to strive for.
And now we see a rider that doesn't want to make our mud jump. He makes that last-minute decision to pull the U-turn and go around, and that's a long way around there, Fred, and a long way over to the ISDE this year. And those guys are obviously going over there with the intent of doing pretty well over there.
Yeah, I think we've got a great team. We definitely have a great chance of winning the overall this year. We had a great chance last year until Caleb got hurt, and then Thad Duvall had a few problems, but we've probably got one of our best teams ever going over there. But it's a lot of luck, Johnny. Everything has to fall into place. It's, you can have the best thing and nothing happening. Here's our mud jump. Never ever letting us down.
Speaking of luck and falling into place, we've seen some crazy moments at this mud jump over the years. So much so that I believe some clips from last year actually made it onto either Good Morning America or one of those
that was
Today Show, I guess.
Brooke Cosner's dad.
Yeah, we saw.
He had the radio in his hand. He was still communicating us in the pits. Did the jump, the bike went underneath him, he landed and never quit talking.
Hey, those mud fleas and those crew guys are out there. They're helping in the afternoon race, the morning race, the youth race. And speaking of all the racing that we do throughout the course this weekend, we're joined now in the booth here with this morning's overall winner, our newly crowned WXC champion, and today's race winner, Becca Sheets. Becca, thanks for joining us. And you guys didn't get to play at the mud jump this year. Were you a little bummed about that not being a part of the course?
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it was nice to not have to worry about it, but on the second hand, it doesn't really feel like Powerline without the mud hole jump. So I was kind of bummed, but it really looks pretty sloppy here, so I'm not too mad about it right now.
Well, one good thing about this, Johnny said earlier this week he had a really tough week because you were so hard on your bike at the last race, so he had to work real hard.
I absolutely did not say that.
So maybe now he'll have more time, he can go out and play and stuff. Why are you so hard on his bikes? He's building you a bike and you go out there and just abuse it.
Man, well, the last race was really hard on everything.
Can't you miss those rocks? I mean, there's only a couple of rocks out there.
No, there was a lot of rocks, but
To be fair, if we're being completely honest, the bike prep for the 551 machine was pretty minimal this week. I sent her the list, and I think she jokingly said, "Is that it?"
All I said was, "Hey, just check the clutch because I think we need a new one."
Well, we surely did more than that, but it was definitely an easy week. You didn't tear up too much stuff, but yes, I did. Unfortunately, my bike was pretty well trashed. So then these guys, you can see when they're landing, they're getting over that soft spot there. But and there we see it looks like Jesse Ansley, possibly our leader in that 200A class. But when these guys are landing, we're seeing them wishy-wash around, and we saw that guy slide up into the crowd. You just came off the track under an hour ago. How are the conditions out there as a whole? Obviously, we're seeing, like here in the dark, is it really that slick in those darker sections of the woods?
In the woods, it is seriously ice. It really never got, we never got any more traction as the day went on. It didn't really hook up any better. It was kind of just super slick, and Casey and I were both struggling. I just was like, man, I wish I weighed 10 pounds heavier today so I could just get a little more traction. But out in the fields, it was sick. Like, the grass was super tacky, and you could just kind of go as you pleased. You didn't have to worry about too much.
Well, as we're watching here and the folks watching at home, we've got our AMSOIL Twitter contest going on. So if you want to get on Twitter, tweet your podium finisher predictions to hashtag GNCC Live for your chance to win $250 in AMSOIL products. Now, keep in mind, the winner's chosen at random. You do not have to be correct. You just have to get your picks in. So while I got you guys in the booth here, I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot. Well, it's our first time, so we'll start with Becca. Becca, again, you don't have to be right, but who do you think is going to be the overall podium today for the race here?
I'm going to go with Caleb.
That he's going to win all 3 spots for second and
wait,
third?
I have to pick all 3.
Correct.
Yep, Caleb is all 3 for sure. No, I'm going to go. Wait, who's in second right now?
Oh, it doesn't. Oh!
Not that guy.
You can see right there, Johnny, when that guy landed, his left hand came off the clutch, his face hit the crossbar, and he just nice and easily rode over and fell down. And
all right, well, it looks like Ashburn's in 3rd place. So I'm going to go Caleb, Strang, and I'm going to throw Thad back on the podium.
So Caleb Strang and Thad. Fred, we'll throw it to you. What is your top 3 predictions?
Well, I'm definitely going to put Thad in there for sure, but I think it's going to be Caleb, Thad, and Ashburn.
Caleb, Thad, and Ashburn. All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here, although it's not that much of a limb since he is currently leading the overall. I'm going to have Caleb Russell with the win. I'm going to put Thad Duvall for second, and I'm going to go with Lane Michael for third overall from that XC2 class.
Wow. That's not a... It may seem crazy, but it's not the way Lane Michael's riding right now.
I'll tell you what, I think
and
he's a man on a mission.
Yeah, he's with the faster guys, Johnny, something he hasn't been, so these faster guys are actually going to help carry him. He's going to be going faster than he normally is, and he's not even going to know it.
Absolutely. You know, I think we've seen him show great speed early in these races, and then he's one of those XC2 guys that we see kind of, you know, I wouldn't say lose the pace, but he settles into a pace where Caleb Russell, Josh Strang, Thad Duvall, Chris Bach, those guys are all picking the pace up as the race goes. Well, today, he's up with those guys. If we look, and we're looking at uncorrected time here, he's not far off the back of Chris Bach and Johnny Albert, and obviously those guys have world-class speed. If he can latch onto the back of them when they pick the pace up, we could see him physically up battling with the overall leaders very soon here, as we're now 43 minutes into this one, and things are starting to sort themselves out. But we can see, obviously, you know, Becca, we were talking about those slick conditions. You know, how much did the track change throughout the course of your 2-hour race, and how much do you think, with these guys being out there for 3 hours, the track's going to change and evolve during the course of their race?
Well, like I said before, we never really got any more traction in the woods. It just kind of stayed icy, but one thing I did notice is that it got a lot more choppy as our race went on. There was a lot more holes dug out coming in and out of corners and stuff, and I think that will definitely get a lot worse throughout the race today.
And the fields are really good, so you enjoyed the fields, and I don't think the fields can get any better. Like you said, the slipperiness in the woods, it's not going to get any better now for sure. With the wind, with the trees covering it and stuff, it's just not going to dry up any. And luckily, you're on a 4-stroke too, so you should even be able to try to get a little bit more traction than the average person.
Yeah.
And we can see Caleb Russell coming out here right now out into the grass field open section. It looks like he's got a little bit of a lead opened up there, Johnny.
He's really taken a lot of looks over his shoulder, so I'm assuming he hasn't received a pit board. He doesn't know exactly what that lead is. He was taking physical stock himself to see exactly where second place is. We haven't seen him yet, but obviously as the camera follows Caleb, we're going to assume that somewhere back in those chicanes that Caleb just came through is our second place rider. Last we knew that was Josh Strang. We'll find out here in just a moment. Caleb Russell really looking like he's on a mission here early, though, and it looked like it was about 22 when he went into the woods there. Oh, it is Ashburn in second, so we're at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're about 15 seconds, give or take, is the gap right now. Can't tell who that is.
Thad Duvall.
Thad Duvall worked his way into third. So there we go. I think.
And you know, too, Josh Strang still, he's got a broken foot. So, I mean, it's not like we're counting him out, but he's kind of riding a little bit injured. So, and he knows he's got to fly over to ISD also. So,
yeah. And
he's being safe.
We saw Strang, you know, 2 weeks ago, or last week, sorry, at the Masontown GNCC. You know, he was fairly strong early. He was up inside the top 5, 7, 8, and then he really kind of faded back. I shouldn't say faded. I think he kind of selectively moved back through the pack as he could manage his pain level. Look at this. Fred, what's rule number 1 of the Powerline mud jump?
Don't ever roll off that hill and ride in there, Johnny. And that's what's going to happen.
I think we should get a little placard for the top there. And this looks to be Johnny Albert, the number 116, I believe, is the number he's running this weekend on that factory beta. And it looks like he has gotten around and possibly pulled away from just a little bit. There is the number 4 of the JCR Honda of Chris Bach. And is that, no, that's Baylor, possibly. There is Lane Michael there. So he's up with some fast company right now. The 2 guys in front of him, and he's around Grant Baylor, the younger Baylor brother. So those guys, seems like the Baylor boys always seem to find each other throughout the course of this 3-hour race at some point or another.
And we talk about people getting stronger towards the end, Johnny, and the Baylor boys, they get stronger at the end. So they may be where they're at right now, but once that gets past the halfway point, they seem like they just pick up energy and they get themselves to the front.
Hold on, I called that wrong. That must have been Corey Buttrick that we saw there, because that there is Stu Baylor. So that was another one of the SRT KTMs, so I'm assuming it must have been Buttrick. We didn't see him up in there earlier, but that's the only other rider that really could have been. Fred, here's a rider you're really familiar with here.
Here's Andrew DeLong. He's coming through the rock pile. You know, he's been off all year long. He's just coming here to get some good seat time. You know, get back into the racing. It's so hard when you've been out 4 or 5 months to come to a race like this. You think you're physically ready. You've been training your butt off. You're doing all the training that you did before you got hurt. But these guys you're racing against haven't not missed a beat. They've been racing every weekend, so their speed is so good.
Oh, you know what's so good is the mud that guy's chewing on.
Is that
right
a Sasquatch?
Now. I think it might
Ohio
be.
Sasquatch right there.
Man, that Jack Link Sasquatch sighting. And I'll tell you what, we've got a sighting finally of our second place in XC2. And there it is, Tegan Temple. Actually, I believe he's on a new ride this weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
He's on a new KTM.
Yeah.
And Craig DeLong right behind him.
Yeah, Craig DeLong there in third, so that's your top three in XC2. There is Trevor Bollinger. Looks like Witkowski behind him and Nick Davis there. So Nick Davis here on the factory beta. They've done a little swippy swap, and Tegan Temple now out there on a supported KTM. I don't know exactly who all he's riding for. I think he's got some support from JDP Suspension and some other Ohio companies and some people behind him there. He's a rider that's really been on the up and coming, and we'll look for some good things out of him here today, running second early in that XC2 class. I think what we have here is the 206, the Ampro Yamaha of Josh Toth, who's really kind of caught the world by storm these last two races. A little bit of head shake there, Fred. That's high speed. You know.
That's a good thing he's strong, was holding on to that thing. But no, I think, Josh Toth, he kind of came out of nowhere. Randy and the Ampro Yamaha guys picked him up, and boom, he had two sensational rides.
Yeah, and both of those rides, if you actually watch closely, I don't think there's any cause for alarm at this point, him being back in 5th, 6th, wherever he's at, because he wasn't at the front in either of the last two races until well after, probably about the hour and a half, 2 hour mark. So this boy's obviously got some fitness, and they've got that program working well for him, and we'll see if he's able to charge his way up and potentially put that Ampro Yamaha on the podium.
Yeah, I would say he's got, like I said, he's did good these last two races. He's got some confidence in that bike. So like you said, Johnny, he's come through before, so he's got that in the back of his head, and we look for him to come through again.
As we watch here, I gotta say, it's kind of strange how, as I was watching this morning race, normally the way these fields are laid out at many of our races, it seems they kind of get one line. Beck, I was watching you and Casey actually battle through these fields a number of laps today. Did it seem as there was almost two distinct lines through a lot of these fields out in the open, and is it possible that it kind of developed that way because the dirt and the grip is better? What were your thoughts on the fields? They just seem to be a little different today.
Yeah, I mean, the section that they're showing here, it was definitely, you could really get traction on the inside or the outside. It was kind of just who was on the gas more as far as what was faster, because Casey and I went back and forth in the field a couple of times there, and but on the other side of the track, closer to the finish, there was a lot more lines developed, and I think, it was just what got rough. We would just make another line through it, so it just stayed smoother, and it was just good traction all day.
So with the exception of, obviously the 10 a.m. race didn't run the PowerPoint, nor did, as we talked about, you didn't run the creek jump. You did say there was some other mud holes. Anything out there that could be challenging these guys and throwing a mix into kind of line choice and any of that? How do you see things shaping up for the track as we go through? Oh no! You never want to see that.
That's one of the things you talk about, John. When you come for a mud hole and the creek jump, you're committed. When you jump it and the guy in front of you crashes, you got no choice but to land and hit him. That's just what happened right there. Yeah, this guy was already stuck in the mud, and the guy on the left was already committed to jumping, and he was doomed just to hit him and knock them both down just like they did. And I believe, I'm not sure, I think that's...
I see it's a yellow number plate there, so it's it's one of our B riders.
Yeah, I think it, well, let's see what it is. I think it's Colin Keegan.
I couldn't catch the number, I'm not sure, but it definitely, you can see if you make this choice to try and jump the mud and you don't make it, and obviously he was kind of the victim of another. It definitely got the KR4 on the side there. So
no, it's
229 is what it looks like on the side of his helmet there. So, but I couldn't.
So it's one of those riders. One of them guys. So if you're looking for him, he was stuck down there in the mud, but he's back up and rolling now.
Yeah, it's wow. These guys are really covered up with the mud there. We do see Braxton McGee now on screen, another one of our 4-stroke A lights riders, and it seems like there's really just one line through the. Oh, as I say that. He actually does make a different line there. And, we've got a lot of, obviously, battles going on out there, Fred, in our amateur classes as well. The A classes that we're seeing these guys coming through on screen. I think we have Zach Nolan leading the 250A class, and he was our overall amateur rider, a very, very, very local rider for our last race there in Masontown. And, this is kind of the future, the up-and-coming stars of GNCC, and good to see those guys out there putting on the show that they are.
Yeah, actually, Zach Nolan actually got the whole shot, Johnny, and he hasn't looked back since. He's just working his way to the front. And I think Zach Nolan a few years ago raced a race and won the XC2 class in Kentucky, that one real muddy race. And then Zach kind of got out of it for a little bit. Now he's getting back into it. He's getting his feet wet again in that 250A class, and he's riding awesome right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of those classes. We've got the 250A class, the 4-stroke A lights, Open A, and then obviously all of our B classes. And that's what's awesome about GNCC as you're watching, and we're following Caleb Russell, Josh Strang, Jordan Ashburn, Thad Duvall, all those guys battling for the lead. There's all these other battles going on out on the course, and riders that are in their own right, just battling just as hard as those guys, trying to get their job done for the day.
You're right, Johnny. And right now you can see this crowd just gets bigger and bigger. Every time it shows us here, there's just more and more people, just like yesterday for the quad race, that all these people are here for this. And once the leaders come through here at the end, everybody kind of works their way back up to the finish, because we had that epic finish with Walker Fowler and the crew yesterday. And you talked about with Becca about the open fields. On the last lap, Walker Fowler actually came down that hill and ran the outside on Adam McGill, and actually passed Adam on the outside, but he had to go so wide and slow down because he carried so much speed that Adam McGill turned in tight and actually pulled ahead of him. So it's, at one point we thought, oh shoot, Walker passed him, but then the speed that Adam had coming from the inside, he passed him back. So there's a lot of great racing out there in the fields.
Yeah, we've definitely, we would have to agree that this track, as slick as it is, as the conditions have developed throughout the weekend, it's provided for some great racing action. We've seen a lot of passing. We've seen battles back and forth. Definitely want to thank Becca Sheets for joining us here a little bit this afternoon and keeping us up to date. Congrats on another win. And, again, anything you want to say before you head out?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Johnny, for building me a race championship Yamaha.
Yeah. Huge thanks to this guy, Johnny Gallagher, because he's the one that preps my bike every race, and we have yet to have a mechanical failure, so I'm pretty pumped on it.
I feel like people say that people have a spoon to stir the pot. I think Fred has a paddle. Like, he gets in there and he just tries to get everybody talking about things.
Yeah, we can talk about Johnny's just a quad guy, man.
We just got to get things going here. There's Caleb Russell coming towards the finish line here, and like you said earlier, Caleb kind of looks around, but when he's out there in the open section, he's got nothing else to do. They're so big and so fast. He can look around and see where the rest of the racers are, and right now he's got to kind of look pretty far because he's starting to put a little bit of time on him, Johnny.
Yeah, we do see there is our second place rider, we believe, Jordan Ashburn, unless we've missed. Nope, that is Ashburn now in second, and he's about 4 chicanes behind our leader, Caleb Russell. There he is right there. You can see things are really starting to get chopped out, and it's good racing on his part to be able to like you said, Fred, to be able to take a look around, take stock. He doesn't need to rely on those pit boards. He can physically see exactly where those guys are at, and it helps him manage that gap in his effort. Caleb really is the master of, oh my goodness. Would you get a look at this, Fred? You don't see this every day. Gentleman riding by our RacerTV studios with one half of his handlebars missing. And it happened to be the throttle portion that was missing. So he kind of had his throttle in his other hand and was riding with one hand to be able to oversee that machine and get it safely back to his pits there. So as we watch here, these guys now working their way through the VP Fuels Pro Row. Where it looks like Caleb Russell still leading the way, Jordan Ashburn in second, and we're now joined back here by Rodney Talman, who's back from calling the starts there as these guys are working their way through. And things are pretty exciting here. We're gonna have to wait and see when Lane Michael checks in if he's able to hold on to that overall lead. But Rodney, as we're watching, there's so many storylines developing. Powerline never disappoints, and today it seems to be just that way yet again.
And that's one thing that I always get excited about coming here. You think about the grand scheme of things. Powerline Park GNCC, what is so special about it? It's round 12. It's in Ohio. Sometimes it's dry and dusty and just miserable here, but for some reason it brings some of the biggest history along with it when it comes to GNCC. So many things have taken place here. You talk to riders, this is where they secure championships. This is where many of them make a step up into a new class, and oftentimes this might be the place where they get their first win. And this place holds a lot of special memories for a lot of different riders. And being here some 15 now, about 16 years now, I'm sure that there's lots more that are being made all the time, and many that we don't even know anything about. But right now we're keeping an eye down in the pit area. It looks like, not sure if the leaders are coming through there. It shouldn't be too much longer as we see that Russell, Ashburn, Duvall have all three checked in. We had an 20-second lead
for Caleb Russell at the 8-mile marker. He now has a 21.8-second lead over Ashburn, who has only a 4.4-second lead over Thad Duvall. Josh String another 9.5 seconds back, and now Lane Michael has checked in with his second lap complete, and he is now 5th place overall after the time adjustments. He just stopped. As a matter of fact, it looked like to get some fresh goggles there at the Coastal Pits too, Fred.
You know, Johnny, that's Johnny, sorry. And that's a little bit of a weird strategy. If you're going to stop for goggles, you might as well top that bike off. You're wasting 3 or 4 seconds. You know, I'm surprised that they didn't top him off because he's going to have to stop one time anyways.
That's very true, and it's a very good point. It might have been a situation, Fred, where they weren't necessarily prepared for him to even stop for the goggles even. They might have just had him on hand, and he's like, give him, and they, you know, it might have been everything happened so fast for him. But regardless, I'm sure they've got a plan and they've got an idea. But, yeah, like you said, a little bit of time lost there. 27:30 lap time that time around. That was some 26 seconds slower than Caleb Russell's lap time of 26:54. Jordan Ashburn was a 26:54. And Thad Duvall a 26:56. Josh Strang also in a 27:07 lap time range there, and you do the math right now as far as he laps time. He's only 2 seconds behind Josh Strang now on adjusted time out of the 4th place position. So the grand scheme of things, he's still well within podium contention depending on how the rest of this race goes. But like you alluded to there earlier, Fred, we've seen this oftentimes where we see the XC2 guys up front on overall adjusted time, maybe for a lap, 2, and even 3 on occasion. But it's usually that last hour where things really start to change if they haven't changed at that particular point yet.
Yeah, I think, you know, Lane Michael, I'm not sure what happened to him at Masontown for sure, but maybe he slowed up a little bit, and that's when Trevor Bollinger caught him. I'm not sure, but I know this weekend Lane's just going to keep the hammer down the whole way. I don't think he's gonna get that slow down part because he wants to get this overall win for himself.
Well, you look at the grand scheme of things here as far as the XC2 class, and that's what really Lane is concerned with. Over the creek jump there, or the mud hole at Powerline Park, Caleb Russell making his way through and over, no problems there. Another 10 or 15 seconds now, and we should see there comes, I believe, 2nd place now. But Lane Michael has a 1 minute and 32 second lead over 2nd place in the XC2 class. That's Craig DeLong, who has another 9.5 seconds over Trevor Bollinger.
Here comes Jordan Ashburn over the creek jump with Thad Duvall right on his tail. You know, and Caleb's doing what he's been doing all year long, Rodney. He gets in the lead. Boom, he takes off like a rocket, and he is gone.
Manages the race quite nicely. There's Josh Strang over the creek jump now as he makes his way through. And we're going to start checking in with some of our radio updates here in just a few moments. We'll be checking in with Bill Allen and a few of the guys. We are now approaching the 1 hour mark in this race, about 58.5 minutes according to my timing and scoring computer, as we see the 212 machine checking in now, and I believe that obviously is Ricky Russell, so he is still holding close to, if not in, that top 5 right now. And we're going to have to go on assumptions right now because our scoring computer just took a nap. So we're going to get that back up and running here in just a few moments. Wow, I wasn't aware of this, but as I look down at the GNCC store right there, there's a familiar face. If you folks have been coming to GNCCs in the last decade or two, you might recognize Jeff and Amy. Jeff and Amy work the GNCC store, and of course they have become a huge monumental part of GNCC racing, having all the gear and all the parts and everything that you need for your racing. And of course they're getting a little on in their, I don't want to say on in their years, but they've got some grandkids that are on their way and here with them now, and they're making some changes in their life. And we want to say farewell to Jeff and Amy Baker, very close personal friends of mine. I worked with those guys at Gear Raceware several years ago. And there's Ryan Sipes. We talked about Ryan earlier. They're putting him in the Coastal Drilling truck. Now, I am assuming that they're probably going to take him to the hospital for some x-rays right now because I know we kind of made light of the situation a little bit, but in reality, Fred, I'm not saying that it's a bad situation, but I will say this, that Ryan is having some tough times remembering. He doesn't remember what happened or even what happened. They're saying every 10, 15 seconds, he's asking the question, what happened, and they have to retell him again what's going on. So I think they're going to take him, get a little further examination. Again, this is nothing out of the ordinary. Folks bang their heads and have things like that happen oftentimes. We just hope that it's not going to hamper any and cause any issues or problems as he heads to the ISDE to defend that overall win that he took there last year.
Yeah, Ronnie, you know, that's what I was thinking about. You know, Ryan's worked hard all year long. He's been hurt here and there, and he's kind of missed this GNCC racing as, you know, being hurt, and the ISD was kind of his redemption. That's something, that's his specialty, like you said earlier. He comes from the motocross background. He's got that sprint speed, and he went over there last year, and I mean, I knew Ryan Sipes was going to do good, but I never thought Ryan Sipes would win, and he just put it to the world. And I think he was looking so forward to going back there again and showing them who he was and what he can do and how America can do, and I think we could actually win the championship with him. So hopefully, you know, he's definitely got his a little bit rattled right now. Hopefully they can go there and say everything is okay, and he can get on the plane and he can go there and represent America at the ISD again this year.
No doubt about it. Right now we're looking at Caleb Russell out front, about a 20-plus second lead over Jordan Ashburn, and the rest of the field close in tow behind that. Josh Strang back in the number 3 spot, and we're back on GNCC Live right after this.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why I
only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
for those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
The wrong coolant can give you bad stuff, like this and this. You need the right stuff. Evans Waterless Engine Coolant. It's waterless for a reason. Smart guys make it, and smart people use it. Don't take any chances. Get the right stuff. Go to evanschooling.com for more.
I've been with Liat for a lot of years, and I know the dedication they have for safety. When they told me they were coming out with a helmet, I signed right up.
At Rocky Mountain ATVMC, we want to help increase rider participation at your next race, rally, or club event with our free Race Gas program. Join Race Gas, and every rider that signs up for your event or club gets a free $10 gift card to Rocky Mountain ATVMC. It's that simple. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Powerline Park. They call it a beautiful place. I believe it's Paradise on the Hill is what the locals call it here at Powerline Park. And folks, we want to remind you that you can pick up some AMSOIL products, $250 worth from Paradise on the Hill this weekend at Powerline Park. And that's through our Podium Predictions contest. Just tweet your podium finish predictions to GNCC Live for a chance to win that. We'll choose the winner randomly toward the end of the show. You don't have to be right. You just got to hashtag it GNCC Live. Well, back at this one, Caleb Russell continuing to show pure dominance, and en route doing that, he is also in on his way to claiming his 4th championship title. And Fred, I know a former champion yourself, man. You know what it means to win a championship, and not being able to win a second one. Sometimes it probably leaves a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth. But at the same time, man, you got to revel in. It doesn't matter how many championships you have. Every time you win one, man, it is like the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, it sure is, Rodney. And matter of fact, I've got a lot of seconds to a guy that's here this weekend that joined the beta team, Rodney Smith.
Yes,
so
yes.
I've got a lot of number 2s thanks to his number 1s. But you know what? We had a lot of fun racing, and they are, even those seconds are special. I lost to him a couple times by 1 or 2 points. I mean, it's just part of racing. We had a great career, and I love doing it. But I think the biggest thing for Caleb right now is, like he kind of said in his interview, he's going to 6 days where he knows he's got to let it all out if he wants to try to be the second American ever to win everything. And if he can wrap this championship up here today, then that's just one less thing he has to worry about. He can go over there and really let it hang and let him, you know, and try to win that. But then on the flip side, I also heard him say that he wants to beat U-Haul's record of 10 wins. So if he wins today, then he's on 9. But I think if he wins today, he's definitely going to go for the overall win at the 6 days. And we also visited a local school here, Rodney. We've got another nice little clip on that if you want to run that.
Nice little school visit there. I want to say thanks to Kevin Yoho and Cody Collier. And actually, Kevin Yoho, one of our former top GNCC pilots, kind of a part-timer now. His mom actually works there, and I think Cody also familiar with that area as well. And I want to say thanks to those guys for being with us. Harrison East Elementary School, I think, is what it was. And thanks to the faculty, the students, and everybody for rolling out the red carpet for the GNCC racers yesterday. Well, Fred, I got to tell you, a little bit of a bind here. Having some problems with our timing and scoring computer right now. I can't find our database, so we're going to have to go on some visual for just a few moments and a little bit of speculation, which is something that we tend to be pretty good at. And speculating, of course, back there in that number 2 spot, I just got to give props to the number 7 at Jordan Ashburn. I had a chance to talk with him today, man, and you look at Jordan. I mean, he was one of those riders that in previous years had a kind of a stale start to the first part of the season and finished off strong. Well, this year, Jordan started out very, very strong, and one of the big surprises is that as he came to town with a whole new program, not riding with the NFAB AmPro Yamaha team when they came into this year, he picked up and built his own team basically through the help of Westfield Power Sports and, of course, Moose Racing, and was able to establish a very, very, what I would consider strong team right out of the box. I mean, he went from a national number 7 last year with all the basic factory support out of Yamaha to a lone wolf support system out there where he's now looking to capture the number 3 plate. But even bigger and cooler news out of the Jordan Ashburn pits is that he told me he's already got a deal signed for 2017, and he's going red. He's going beta. He's going to be working with Rodney Smith, Nick Davis, and those guys down there at Beta USA.
Yeah, I think, he had a good program going with the AmPro Yamaha team, but kind of wasn't adjusting with the way he was doing things, so he kind of went out on his own, and now he was spending his own money riding a KTM, kind of a privateer effort with some help, and now he's back with his parents and his girlfriend, and they all mesh really well, and they all clicked. Jordan's a great rider, and he got on a new bike, he got a new fresh outlook, and I think he knew that this is his last shot. If he wants to do this for a career, wants to make money at it, he's got to give it a go, and that's exactly what Jordan's done. Jordan's come out here and opened up a lot of eyes, which we know. I mean, I knew Jordan could do it. You get some few bad years, and it seems like you can't get out of it. But when you get a new bike, you get a new outlook, you get a fresh start, and that's just what he needed. And he has earned a factory ride for the next few years, so that's awesome. And my hat's off to him and his family.
No doubt, and I think it's got to be some sort of redemption. And I know that, there's a lot of variables and a lot of factors when it goes into choosing and building your teams. And I don't know for what reason that the separation of the AmPro Yamaha team and Jordan happened to be, but at the same time, I know he's got to feel pretty stoked that he was able to come out and still perform and keep the momentum up that he had at the end of last year. So kudos to him and congratulations to him as well. And, in his successes at the same time, going outside of the NFAB AmPro Yamaha pits, it actually opened up a couple opportunities for some other folks. And I tell you, the one that is probably going to benefit the most out of all this is that new XC2 rider that they got on the team in Josh Toth. It's still kind of new and fresh to the team, but man, he has put together some amazing rides, and I didn't get a chance to see where he was at before I lost my scoring computer here, but hopefully we'll get this back up and running here in just a few moments, and we'll be able to find out exactly where he is. But a good kid out of Connecticut, never really knowing a whole lot about the GNCC, started dabbling in a little bit there last year and came in full force this year, man, and he has certainly made a name for himself on the national scene.
Yes, he sure has, right. And I think earlier he was in like 4th or 5th place, I think. We were talking about him. But, he's come from behind before, so it looks like he's going to be doing that same thing as what he's done over the past few races, and he's put that AmPro Yamaha in the box, so he'll be looking to do that again. But, I'm really impressed with Lane Michael right now. He's really riding strong. He's got that Coastal Husqvarna right now in 5th overall, which is awesome for a guy from the XC2 class on a track like this, where this track's a little bit faster than normal, so it's kind of hard for the XC2 guys even to get up to the front leaders, but Lane Michael managed to do that the first lap, Rodney, and he's still carrying that momentum along with it.
And like you guys were talking earlier, Fred, I think a lot of that has to stem from the fact that he got himself in a little bit of a pickle there toward the end of the race whenever he found himself not at the pace that he wanted to race at, I think, at the end. So today he wanted to try to put a cushion in there, and I know even a Uh-oh. Look at this. Ashburn going to get by. We were talking about that number 7 rider than the Westfield Power Sports KTM a few moments ago. He's dropped back a little bit as Ricky Russell had gotten around him. Now, how about Ricky Russell on this MCS Obermeyer Suzuki team that he's got this ride with this year, man? Talk about finding some huge successes this year. This kid has really meshed well with the Suzuki, with this team, with this program, and we're seeing nothing but advancements out of him right now.
Yeah, Rodney, a little bit off the program here. I think something must have happened to Jordan Ashburn, because Jordan Ashburn was in second place. He was ahead of Josh Strang, Thad Duvall, and Lane Michael. So his team must have had some problems for Ricky Russell to catch up to him on that lap. But yeah, you're right. Ricky Russell, it's the end of the year, Rodney. You got to get it. He doesn't have a ride for sure secured for next year, so he's putting in some awesome rides here at the end, trying to get some sponsors, trying to get a ride again for next year.
And that is what we call silly season right now. A lot of that going on. I'm kind of surprised and shocked. I know, talking to Josh Strain, he signed another 2-year deal with this Rockstar Energy Husqvarna team over there. Jordan Ashburn's got a new deal there with Beta. I think Nick Davis will likely be looking at a ride next year with the Beta folks over there. So, I mean, some pretty interesting stuff. Some guys have got their stuff secured. Caleb signed, I think, a 4-year deal to extend through what we expect to be the remainder of his career there earlier in the season. And not real sure.
And, Thad Duvall's actually signed a deal for next year too, Rodney.
Oh, has he really?
Yeah, he will be on the factory Rockstar Husqvarna team.
Oh, is that right? Wow,
Yes,
that is a spectacular news to hear from him, because I know he has certainly been in some great contention. And, as bad as I hate to say it, I think that might be the edge that Thad is looking for. If you remember, man, he grew up under the guidance and being groomed by Randy Hawkins, and he had that kind of factory support behind him and that network behind him, and he hasn't had that for some time. And what he's been able to achieve through the KR4 ride there with Rocky Mountain ATVMC and the Amsoil team, man, has been phenomenal. And to see that he's got that opportunity once again, kudos to him and congratulations to Thad Duvall for that.
Yeah, 2 years ago I talked to Thad about that. He was just about ready to hang it up, and I said, man, you can still do it, Let's get you on a different bike and let's go after it, and that's what we did. And, he's worked hard for it. It hasn't been given to him, and he deserves it, and I just hope that, he can carry it on with him at the Husky team, because sometimes, you get that break you need and you get hurt, and you can't really do what you needed to do. And there's like Craig DeLong right now coming through the rock pile, and he's just past his big brother Andrew.
That's got to be making him feel pretty good. You know that Andrew's going to be chomping at the bit because of that. But, yeah, there he comes. That rock garden section looking pretty. As we're scanning down through some of these results right now, we've got a really heated battle going on right now. Here comes another one of our XC2 Pro Lights riders. Is that? I think that was TB10. Yeah, I thought I saw the white background and the green number there. So we got a great race going on right now. There's our 527. That's Nick Davis there checking in the XC2 Pro Lights Class 2. A great battle going on in the Junior A25 Plus class right now. There's 3 riders, Fred, that are jockeying back and forth for position. Andrew France, Lucas Towery, and Joseph McCarty right now have really, they have each been out front at some point so far in this race. Joseph actually pulling the whole shot out there in that class, and he is really keeping these guys pretty honest. I think we're going to have a good one to watch there. I'm not sure how far they are up in the overall results, but they may be pushing close to a top 20 right now.
Yeah, Ron, we've got great racing going on in all our classes right now with the conditions like this, and this is GNCC racing weather at its best. It's nice and cool out. The track's really good conditions. You don't have to worry about overheating, and there's a lot of spectators here that keep you going as you're out there riding. They're hooting and hollering and yelling and screaming, and we got these nice little rock gardens like this where sometimes you got to get off and get a little pushing. And these amateur racers, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have pro racers, Rodney.
Right.
The pro racers, they get the limelight, they get most of the TV coverage in that, but without all the amateurs being here racing and supporting and buying motorcycles, there would be no Caleb Russell factory KTM ride or anybody else on a factory team. It's all these amateurs that come out and support GNCC racing. They're not only supporting us, they're supporting Caleb Russell.
Yeah.
And I know all those guys appreciate it, because I know when I raced, I thanked people when I passed them, or you wave and say, hey, thanks for letting me by or whatever. So it's a great feeling out there.
You know, it's really neat. Throughout the course of this year, Fred, I have seen riders range anywhere from the age of 4 years old to their mid-70s. Actually, there's two 71-year-old riders this morning that we watched race. I thought that was amazing, and actually they get the early lead in the hole shots in those classes over the 65 young gunners, the 65-year-old young guns, and that's what I think is really neat. You know, we talk about this being an everyman sport and GNCC, and that's exactly what it is. I love how we got so much going on here, but yet we still have this, guys like this right here in the XC2 Pro Lights class, and we also still have as well the XC1 Pro class riders that people can try to achieve to be, or they can just be a racer in one of the amateur classes their whole life. That's purely up to them, and that's what I love about this sport. And I'm sure that's what a lot of you folks are loving as well, and you're loving watching the good battles that are shaping up out there.
There's Zach Nolan right there, I believe, Rodney. He doesn't have any goggles on.
Yep, and that's your 250A class leader. So I know he was one of the top amateurs last week. He's up in amongst some of those XC2 Pro Lights riders right now. So I'm going to say that Zach, at least at the moment, is one of your leaders in the amateur overall. We see the 1, 2, 3 of Austin Lee there, one of our XC2 Pro Lights riders. And folks, right now watching this race unfold, we are approaching, I think, somewhere near the halfway point of this 3-hour race extravaganza. And of course, we'll continue with more GNCC Live and the conclusion of what happens here at Powerline Park after this.
The Andersons discovered life is easier with an Outlaw RV. The Outlaw is a complete home on wheels with a multifunctional garage. Getting on the road has never been quicker. The Outlaw is made to fit the lifestyle of today's active families. So stop roughing it and start enjoying your weekends. Find the Thor Motor Coach Outlaw that fits your needs at GarageRVs.com today.
You smell it, you feel it, you can taste it in the air. Speed, man. Full wide open. Blast. I didn't really like high school too much. Too booky, too take notes, learn this, and that's it. Got WildTech. They had full-size motorcycles. The feeling of taking them apart every day, putting them back together. You can't explain it. Everything I learned applies to now. Seeing your motorcycle that you put together right around the track at 180 miles an hour, oh, definitely rewarding. My name's Mike. My school's WildTech.
Get on the fast track to a career. Turn pro at WildTech.
When it comes to guarding your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance enthusiasts demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond protection it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Welcome back to GNCC Live here at Powerline Park. And here we are at the famous mud hole again. You can see right now we got some of the guys going around the jump that really don't want to go over the jump. It's taking a little bit longer route, but it's a little bit safer sometime. But last look, it was Caleb Ashburn in first, Jordan Ashburn in second, Thad DeBall was in third, Josh Strang was in fourth, Lane Michael from the XC2 class was in fifth place overall on time, I'm sorry, and then Ricky Russell.
Yep. And look at this. Johnny Albert is back 7th overall. He's 6th in class right now. He is the former 2-time World Enduro champion and also a former ISDE overall winner himself out of France. And Albert last week had some major struggles. I was talking with Rodney Smith, and Rodney said whenever Johnny came into the pits after last week's race, he was very surprised at the way things had unfolded. There's Thad Duvall making his way into the finish line region now. As we
I think that's second place right there, Rodney.
And I don't know, that might, let's see, I don't see, I'm updating my computer. I do have my computer updated. I didn't see Caleb, there's Caleb checking in right there just ahead of him. Okay, so man, it looks like that gap has closed up a little bit because that seems to be a lot tighter than 21 seconds as Thad is making his way in now. So Caleb Russell checks in with a 26:53 lap time that time around. Last time around, Jordan Ashburn was second, but now it's Thad Duvall, who's 10.8 seconds back. He turned a 26:37 lap time, which matches Caleb's lap time from the lap before, believe it or not. And a bit of a gap back now only 6 seconds. I thought it was a little larger than that, only 6 seconds. So both Thad Duvall and the freight train Josh Strang are pushing forward right now. Both have closed in a little bit on Caleb Russell. His 26:53 lap time, not sure what caused that. A number of things I'm sure could have risen out there. But look at that 26:34 that Josh Strang just turned. And that's the fastest lap that we've seen so far, maybe of the day, which I know that the conditions change from lap to lap, but definitely of this lap so far, 26:34. That's 3 seconds, nearly 4 seconds faster than Thad Duvall's lap time right now. 6.2 seconds. We're about ready to see things really heat up. If Caleb stays on his pace, if Thad stays on his pace, and Josh stays on his pace, about halfway through this lap, Fred, this should be one of those old school barn burners that we like to talk about, where these guys are going nose to tail.
You know, Rodney and I also noticed that Jordan Ashburn hasn't come in yet. I don't know if he had some bike troubles or not, but
well, we saw that he had dropped back a little. Well, no, he checked in fourth place, almost 51 and a half seconds back, so he did make it through a 27:39. So he was actually a minute plus slower than Strang and Duvall that last time around. So Ashburn having some sort of an issue out there. We see that Ricky Russell is checked in now. Now he got back around Ricky, it looks like, and Ricky 2.3 seconds back at 27:12, so we can see that Ricky's got a fairly decent pace going on right now, and if he can keep that pace, he might be able to keep himself into contention for not only a strong top 5 finish, but if things work in his favor, he might be able to inch up to a possible podium finish today.
Yeah, you know, with Josh Strang putting that extra push on right now on Thad Duvall, that may actually help those two guys carry each other up towards Caleb Russell's you know, because it's unusual that they both caught up to Caleb. Caleb maybe got stuck the last lap, you know, riding one of the mud holes, or just caught some slower traffic and had to slow down a little bit. But with Caleb Russell still in the lead, it's going to be interesting to see when they come down to the famous Powerline Park Creek jump to see how close they are, if they actually gained or if Caleb has actually put a little bit of time on them.
Lane Michael has moved up into the number 4 spot overall after time adjustments on that last time around. He turned to 27:18. We do the map on the elapsed time right now. He's got a 6-second lead over Jordan Ashburn, and just looks like about 46 seconds behind Josh Strang on adjusted time right now.
Hey, Rodney.
A few seconds ago on the screen. Oh, sorry, Megawatt, go ahead.
All right, hey, standing down here with E right now. Got a little update from the KR4 pits. Tell us what's happening down here, man.
Well, we just came in for a pit stop, had a real good stop. Thad's catching up to Caleb. Slick Ohio mud. It's going to be a battle. I mean, Thad's from West Virginia, but his house is so close to Ohio. It's going to be a good old Ohio battle with Caleb and Thad, so it ought to be awesome.
That looks like it's how it's shaping up. Hey, anything in particular you guys watching, anything you're concerned with?
No, everything's good so far. He didn't really say much on the pit stop other than hurry up, I got to go.
All right, hey, congratulations, you guys. Good luck. Back to you, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot. And, you know, I got to say, we were talking about Thad Duvall there a few moments ago, Fred, and I got to point out that this rider actually very optimistic about the future. And like you said, now he's got the Husqvarna factory ride for next season coming up. He was talking about maturing and how, you know, well, a lot of these champions that you see didn't really win championships until later in their career, until they reached their late 20s or even into their 30s. And you look at Rodney Smith's case, all the way up into his early 40s, he was still winning championships. So I think Thad, like you were talking there a couple of years ago, was looking at, oh, I'm thinking about hanging it up. Now starting to see the big picture and see that it takes maturity to be in this thing for the long haul.
Yeah, for sure. Thad's definitely matured into where he is today. You know, he's on good equipment, he's doing good, so he's at the right place at the right time. When he was younger, you know, maybe he wasn't, you know, it wasn't his time to be a champion. So I think where he's at right now in the next few years should be really good for him. And you can see his leaders just went by, first, second, and third, that they've got a really big lead on 4th place now, Rodney. I'm not sure, you know, Jordan Ashburn had a little bit of trouble that last lap, but he seems to have fallen back a little bit here as we're waiting for him to come down to the Powerline Park jump here with all the spectators watching around, and we're still kind of waiting for him. So I guess he was about a minute behind.
Hey, I'm on the radio right now, Fred, with the Bolton himself, Jared Bolton, one of our junior trail bosses that is one of the co-designers of the racetrack out here with guys like Ryan Eccles and, of course, our trail boss, Jeff Russell, who oversees it all. And he's got an update coming in from the PowerPoint here in just a couple of moments, and we're going to get a bird's eye view, so to speak, of what's going on out there here in just a few moments.
When you're ready.
All right, go ahead, update.
This FMF Powerline, big hill climb. Caleb Russell with the lead. Brad DeVault, string third. All three of them within about 15 seconds of each other.
10-4 there, Jared. I know that when they came through, there was only like a little more than 10 seconds separating first and second. If that starts to tighten up, let me know, okay?
10-4, these guys are still close together. We still got a race going on.
No doubt about that. We also see that Jordan Ashburn has dropped back a little bit. Got any reports on what may have happened to him?
Not sure what's going on with Ashburn, but he still hasn't made his way to the Powerboy, and those guys have been going through here for quite a while now.
Yeah, we seen there at the end of that last lap that he dropped back like a 50-second gap between himself and the front three there. So he's actually running 5th place overall. If you notice anything, be sure and radio back, okay?
Absolutely, and just as we're talking about it, here comes Ashburn with Ricky Russell right on him. You can throw a blanket over him. Up the hill, Ashburn goes, and Ricky Russell right behind him. To your right, Howard, to your right.
All right, so there you go, folks. We see that Jordan Ashburn, whatever reason, whatever held him up and dropped him back that 50 seconds, it sounds like he's found a new life out there as he's got Ricky Russell all over that rear wheel now. Like they said, you could throw a blanket over him right now. That's good racing.
Yeah, Rodney, right now he's got that yellow Suzuki breathing down his neck, and he wants to get away from him. You know, nobody likes to have somebody that close here, so he's trying to put a little bit extra time on him and Ricky Russell and get back into the groove and see if he can't work his way back up to the front, which is going to be a little bit hard for him because he's going to be by himself when you got Caleb Russell in the lead, you got Thad Duvall in second, you got Josh Strand together. Those guys are only 15 seconds apart right now. I can only see the pace right now getting faster and faster because they've all gassed, so they all know it's getting closer to the end of the race, so they're all going to be really going after it.
For sure, and right now we continue to wait. I know Johnny was talking there just a few moments ago. You didn't think you saw Josh Strang going across the field there. I think we got an update, though, that he is still part of that lead pack right now, so that is some good news that we're looking at. Johnny, you got some other stuff?
Yeah, actually, as we're standing up here at the RacerTV studios looking out over this facility, you can see the riders coming the other way. I must have looked away and missed Strang, so my apologies on that. But definitely seeing a battle heating up there in that XC2. I couldn't hear you guys while I was standing outside there, so if I'm repeating myself, feel free to cut me off. But repeating what you may have already said, things really heating up on the podium battle in that XC2 class. Obviously, Lane Michael comfortably out front, but in second place, Trevor Bollinger there looks like he's turned it up. But I tell you what, hot on his heel, or I'm sorry, Craig DeLong in second place. Trevor Bollinger has turned it up in third. But I tell you what, Nick Davis was all over the back of Trevor Bollinger as they went the other way. And we should see him on camera here. Here is, in fact, Craig DeLong, so there is second in XC2. And you can see that's the 113 factory FMF KTM of Russell Bobbitt in front of him. So he's up well into the XC1 riders. Now, as we watch back, it'll just be a couple of seconds. And like I said, get a good look at the 527 of Nick Davis because he is hard on the charge, and there he is. There is Bollinger, the number 10 JCR Honda, and right behind him, the 527 Beta of Nick Davis. So those guys are hard on the gas. Oh, Andrew DeLong up into the crowd, but he saves it. And, you know, he's he's kind of all over the place there.
Yeah, Andrew landed a little bit short. You could see his feet kind of came off the pegs, Johnny. He couldn't get to the brake, and he was shooting off into the crowd, but luckily the crowd saw him coming, and he got out of the way. But, you know, Nick Davis, this is only his third ride on that Beta. So he's only going to get better as it goes on. Nick's a really good 252-stroke rider, so I think he's going to stay with Bollinger today, and he's going to get himself back on the box.
Hey, Johnny.
Go ahead.
Hey, you guys were just talking a minute ago about Trevor Bollinger getting back on the gas. Standing down here with Easy E, his mechanic. Easy, tell us a little bit about what's happening today, what the strategy is for the second half of the race, and how you guys feel.
We're feeling really good. The bike's working really good. Trevor, you know, he's just needs to stay right where he's at. You know, if we're looking at a championship, basically that should get him there. You know, he's still hunting him down. He's running really strong. So, and we just pit him just now. So all he's got to do is just keep moving forward and keeping his eyes up.
Awesome. Hey, there you have it. That's what's happening down here in the Johnny Campbell pits.
All right, thanks a lot, Megawatt. And of course, as we get the updates from down there in the pits. Want to update you on some stuff. You know, we talk about all this amateur racing and stuff in GNCC racing. Well, Fred, each and every morning starts out at 8 o'clock at a GNCC, and that's always where our youth battles are. And you think youth racing, sometimes you think, oh, it's just a bunch of cute little kids riding around the racetrack. Well, it's a far cry from that. These are true competitors out there, out for blood, it seems like sometimes, man. And we had another one of those dog fights out today. We had 6 different winners in the first 6 races. If that tells you the talent pool there and how hungry those riders are, well, Hunter Reimer was able to pull out the win today.
Good morning, everybody. We're here with our first winner of the day, Hunter Reimer. Hunter, I tell you, it looks like epic conditions out there right now. Looks like the track's really coming around. You got into an early lead, able to maintain a very consistent pace throughout the day. Was that the plan?
Yeah, I was just trying not to be too fast, not too slow, just ride a good pace where I wasn't going to wreck. It was really slippery in the woods, real tacky and nice on the straightaways, but I actually wiped out a couple times, but the woods were really slippery, and it's a good day.
Hit the ground a couple times, able to get up and maintain that lead. That has to be a good feeling.
Yeah, I mean, one time he was right behind me. It was on the first lap. I was starting to pull away already, and I fell, and it was like on a faster section. My front end washed out. It actually hurt pretty bad, but I got up, and he was right behind me, and I was just able to pull the lead again and maintain that the rest of the race.
Hey, congratulations on a big win here. And I got to ask you, how you think this track's going to shape up for this afternoon's race?
Oh, it's going to be really nice. It's going to tack up real nice everywhere. Maybe it might even get a little dusty on the straightaways. I don't know, but it was perfect conditions on the straightaways, a little bit slick in the woods still.
All right, well, congratulations to Hunter Reimer. Big win here this morning. First winner of the day at Powerline Park.
And congratulations to Hunter as well as he claimed the national championship.
Hello, everybody. We're here with this morning's overall winner and WXC winner, Becca Sheets. Becca, you know how to make it exciting, I'll tell you that. A couple lead changes happening this morning, running into some lappers. Tell us a little bit about the conditions and what it took to get this win today.
It was seriously crazy. Casey and I were together the whole race, and we went back and forth a bunch of times, like more than probably what you could see, and she was riding really well, and she did not make it easy, and we were pushing each other, and the lappers, when we would catch lappers, it's almost like we would kind of get a little breather from each other. And I don't know, it was a really fun race. I haven't had that fun of a race in a long time, but the track was super slick, and the lappers kind of were just sliding everywhere, and so were we, but it was fun.
Becca, you've ridden here many times. Tell us about this year's conditions and how they rank.
They're like the same as always. It was a little more icy feeling than usual. Like, it was really hard to get traction. But it was good. I thought it was going to be a lot worse, so I'm pretty happy the way it turned out.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the overall and, of course, the WXC win, and we'll see you on the podium in a few minutes.
All right, thanks.
Great job. Back to you guys.
All righty, and back here now. Again, congratulations to Hunter Reimer as he did wrap up the national championship. Congratulations to Becca Sheets as well. She wrapped hers up a week ago at Masontown, West Virginia. And again, you know, we talk about these final races. These are pretty special for a lot of people because this is where titles get wrapped up. And we're in the, we're on target to wrap one, maybe two of those up today. One in the XC1 Pro class, and then we've got the XC2 Pro Lights class where Trevor Bollinger should be getting close to one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and although there's still a race left, you know, and there's not maybe that sense of urgency that there is when you have riders going into that final race tied or something like that. At the same time, there's a little bit of sense of urgency for both of those riders because they leave Monday to head over for 6 days, and that they don't want to have in the back of their mind those championships kind of looming over, kind of hanging over their heads and extra weight, just kind of maybe making them think about things. It's nice to kind of put that out of the picture and just say, all right, now we just need to worry about 6 days, come back, try and win the race at Ironman. And racers are good at compartmentalizing things, but at the same time, championships loom large in the distance. And obviously, like we've talked about so many times at this point in the season, obviously Caleb Russell maybe not as worried about signing a deal. We
Right.
kind of highly publicized earlier this season. He signed a multi-year deal with obviously that FMF factory KTM.
And that's a long deal for a motorcycle racer. 4 years, man. That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, he's, if anybody's earned that stability or that right to have that stability, it's him. I mean, he's been
KTM ever since he started riding
yeah,
motorcycles.
he's been KTM ever since he started, and the last couple of years he's been kind of the measure of what off-road in the United States is measured by in any series, and he's been doing that by winning championships year in and year out, and winning an alarming number of races on the way to doing so.
Yes, he is. He's the second winningest GNCC racer, on only second right now to Scott Summers, and he's getting to within close to 10 race wins, where he might be able to tie that theoretically next year. Caleb Russell, I think, could possibly tie and break the record and be the all-time wins record holder.
And I don't know if you guys noticed that, but in that open section right here, Caleb Russell was looking forward the whole time. He wasn't looking around to see if Thad Duvall was coming, because he knows Thad Duvall was getting closer to him. Caleb Russell was all business, coming up and down both them straightaways, going through that rock garden. He's not looking back anymore.
Oh, he's on a mission right
now. He knows
now
that these guys are closing in on him. He wants to try to get that little bit gap going. And
two things there. You said he's not looking around, but I think that's almost as much, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that might be as much of a psychological thing as it is, he's trying to psych out Thad Duvall. He knows he's close enough that if Caleb does look around, they're going to make eye contact. And the last thing you want to do is lock eyes with the guy who's trying to track you down like a dog. So he just wants to ignore him, pretend he's not there, not give him the satisfaction of knowing, oh man, you got me worried. Caleb Russell, like you said, Fred, racing forward, doing the best he can to get away. But right now, the Williamstown, West Virginia boy, Thad Duvall, he's hard on the gas, and he just keeps chipping away at it.
yeah, he's been close to a win all year, and he wants to get that win here. It'd be nice for him to get it here in Ohio, even though he lives an hour away maybe, so it'd be nice to almost be like a hometown win for him. And two, he's the guy that's getting on a plane tomorrow. He's going to Spain, so, and Josh Strang also. These guys are laying it on the line knowing tomorrow they've got to get on a plane and go to another country to race, and if something bad would happen today, that would ruin a lot that they've looked forward to all year long. So it's amazing, these guys, how fast they're going.
And I really do think that Josh Strang, for me at least so far, has been the biggest surprise of the day. To see the turnaround that he could make in a short 7-day span from, we saw him struggling to not even score a point, unless I'm mistaken, at our last race in the overall. Anyways, that's how GNCC works. Your overall points are based on top 20, and I believe if I heard correctly, I think Josh Strang finished 22nd or 23rd at our last event overall. So, he went out there, he put himself through that pain, through the suffering of obviously having that injury for 3 hours, came away as if, at least from a standpoint of points of actual achievement, I guess, if you will, it was almost as though he was not out there. Obviously, though, something changed in the last 7 days, and right now he's running a podium spot here as we're well into this race, and he's still out there. Doesn't seem like the foot seems to be really holding him up too much.
A lot of changes taking place.
Grant Baylor down in the rocks.
Wow, he went down pretty hard there, but he's going to bounce right back up and get rolling there. A couple of things to point out. You mentioned Chad.
Oh, he's down again.
Mercy sakes alive. Come on, Grant. Get it together.
That is a lot of time lost for Grant Baylor, and now it appears as though he's having trouble even getting going. And I'll tell you what, Fred, did you see that steam coming off the left side of that machine?
Yeah, I sure did. I don't know if he's done some damage there, if it was just the overflow hose, but something was definitely making it steam right there, Johnny.
And that allowed.
And you know what you saw right there is Lane Michael.
Wow.
We talked about that earlier, Johnny. These guys were stuck in the rock, and Lane Michael had made a choice. So I don't want to go turn rock. Probably not another good line. So he went around, and he didn't lose any time. He actually gained a little bit of time because both those guys were stuck right there. And it was funny to see that amateur guy going, Grant Baylor, get going. You're in my way. You're holding me up.
He looked a little frustrated, but that kind of stuff happens.
Go ahead,
Hey, buddy. We're down here in the Coastal Racing pits right now. Got Rick Michael, Lane's dad. You guys, second half of the race here. You guys in the lead right now. What's the game plan for the rest of the day?
Well, we got our pit stop in, so we should be good to go on gas and goggles. And he had nothing to say. Everything's good. So just hope he can hold that lead. And they got like a 2-minute lead. So let's see if we can hang on this time.
He looked good. The bike looked good. So no concerns right now. Just trying to make it to the finish.
Yep. He's good at that sprinting. He get that big early lead, and let's hope he can hang on to it.
All right, good luck, Rick. Hey, back to you, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Rick's got her. He's all casual, laid back, and cool there. Really just hoping to see things happen. Like I said, a little over 2-minute lead there for Lane Michael in that XE2 Pro Lights class. Now, you're mentioning change there a few minutes ago, Johnny. I wanted to point this out. We've got a lot of changes going on through our overall top 10 right now. We see that Lane Michael is 4th place overall. We talked about that already, but he is physically 7th place on the racetrack. Now let's take a look at the overall. Russell, Duvall, Strang, Michael, and Ashburn. That's your top 5. Actually, Ricky Russell has gotten around Ashburn now, so Ricky Russell is your 5th place rider on adjusted time as well. He is, I think that would put him 4th physically on the racetrack now behind Josh Strang. They're running 51.5 seconds, maybe a little further back than that now. Grant Baylor, whom we've seen struggling there in the rocks, was in 7th place. He had a 40-second lead over Corey Buttrick, which I think he was able to maintain. But the time adjustments might tell a little different story whenever we get around to the end and conclusion of lap number 4. But we got Baylor in 7th, Grant Baylor in 7th. 8th place is Corey Buttrick. Stu Baylor is in 9th place. Johnny Albert now back in the number 10 spot. A couple of surprises and the changes that we're looking at right now. Albert down a few spots. Later in the race, I guess we can kind of expect to see that happening. Not in talking with him this morning, he's not familiar with the GNCC style of racing, so there's a lot of things that he's got to get accustomed to, but you can tell that he learned a lot there from Masontown. He's applied it here so far today. But Stu Baylor, I know he's one of those riders, and he's still got a little less than half the race to go to be able to chug up through the pack. And I'm not saying that he's not going to do it, but man, Stu, the last few rounds, been in a little better position at this juncture in the race, and we saw him finish consistently 4th place just outside the podium the last few rounds. And I got to wonder if maybe he might be finding his struggles here in Ohio today.
Yeah, I think, John, he's definitely having a little bit of struggle today. You know, he's had some good rides in there, and I'm not sure if he got stuck the first lap, but he lost a lot of time here on that first lap, and that's something that you just cannot do on a track like this.
Yeah, he lost that time, and I think we saw he was covered in that black swamp mud that, you know, we think is coming from that bike-only section down in the bottom. And he really is kind of the only rider that we've seen that, at least of our top XC1 guys, that has that thick black mud on him, the swamp mud. So be interesting to know exactly how that section is shaping up down there as we see the number 206 Josh Toth there. Looks like he's working his way by, and a little further back than we had maybe expected. Or
yeah, Toth is running 18th place overall right now. And speaking of overalls, checking down a little bit further right now in the amateur portion of things, we're looking at Zach Nolan at 22nd place overall. He's the 258 class leader right now. 2nd place in the class is Chris Venditti back in 26th overall. He's a full minute, 1 minute behind. And with that, we're an hour and 43 minutes into this, and I think that most, if not all, these riders have come close to hitting that halfway point in their race. So let's go ahead and check in with the Mid-State Chevy Midway Report here at the Polaris Ace Powerline Park GNCC. As we check in with the pro class, it's Russell, Duvall, Strang, Ashburn, and Ricky Russell, your top 5. Grant Baylor, Corey Buttrick in 6th and 7th. Stu Baylor is 8th. Johnny Albert in 9th. And Chris Bach rounding out the top 10. As we go to the Open B class, Ryan McManus out of Nelsonville, Ohio, a 40-second lead on the 519 over Wallace, West Virginia's Dominic Jarvis, the 373, which, by the way, I want to say thanks to the Jarvises for the beer butt chicken that they brought over yesterday. Man, that was some good stuff. 373 Jarvis last year was the Open C class champion. They asked me, what do you think about the stepping up? And I said, I think he's going to be fine. And Dominic has done a great job so far this year in this Open B class. Zach Perry, the 812 out of Myersdale, Pennsylvania, running in the number 3 spot. Denver DeShong out of Emler, PA, is 4th on the 478. Craig Daff, the 807 out of Elkins, West Virginia, rounds out the top 5 in the Open B classes. We look next. We see little Timmy Steiner, who's not so little. He's about 7 feet tall, out of Van Etten, New York, 2.6 seconds on the 236. He's got the lead over the 364 of Max Horesco out of Indianola, Pennsylvania. One thing to point out, we've said this in races past, but I wanted to point it out again. Little Timmy Steiner, he's got a sister, little Sammy Steiner, I like to call her. She's a WXC racer. Their dad races, and their brother, Little Jim Steiner, races as well. Big Jim is the dad, of course, and he's the smallest of them all except for Sammy, I think. But regardless, this is a great racing family. Good to see these guys out. Timmy is doing great. Only a 2.6 second lead right now over Max Horesco. He made that pass, though, on lap 2, and he's going to try to check out, I'm sure. Horesco out of Indianola, Pennsylvania, is second on the 364. 378, Michael Adam out of Parma Heights, Ohio, is third. Noah Stevens, the 654 out of Valdez, North Carolina, is fourth. Aaron Lehman, number 875 out of Morgantown, West Virginia. He is your 5th place ride right now. And if you look at the top 3 in this 250B class, man, we have got a battle going on here. Timmy Steiner, 2 seconds over Max Horesco, who has only 3.4 seconds now over Michael Adam. You do the math right there. That's about 6 seconds that separate the top 3 from 1st to 3rd right now. Hank Hayes, former motocross racer himself there out of Oakdale, Pennsylvania. Hank Hayes is out front. And what do we got going on?
There's Thad Duvall. There's Caleb Russell. Thad Duvall is actually
closed up.
He's closing in on Thad Duvall. Thad Duvall is definitely closing in.
And I'm listening right now. They are trying to determine how many laps this is going to be on timing right now. And I'm not sure if they're putting the 2-lap board out right now. Well, no, they won't be at the 2-lap board. 2-lap board is out. 2-lap board is out this time around, and that means, wow, look at this as we check in, and we'll go back to the Mid-State Chevy Midway report here in just a second. 10.8 seconds separated these riders a lap ago, Russell and Duvall. Now it's 4.3 seconds, a 26.29 by Caleb Russell. Look at this, 26.22 by Thad Duvall. Thad Duvall's man on a mission today, man. Talk about that maturity we were mentioning there earlier. He is maturing, I think, during this race, Fred Andrews.
You know, and I talked to Thad Duvall a little bit earlier, and usually this is hunting season for Thad Duvall. He's kind of thinking about hunting, and he's still doing his racing, but, you know, he's thinking about that, and he said, Fred, I've been riding more right now than ever. I'm feeling good riding. I want to get a win. I want to do good in Spain, and you can show that this extra riding that he's been doing is really paying off right now because he can see Caleb Russell right now, and that's a bad thing for Caleb Russell because Thad Duvall is just going to latch on to him. He's just going to take him to the front, and he's going to wait for that pass. Thad's been in this position a few other times with Caleb, and hasn't been able to seal the deal, but, you know, I think this might be the day for that.
Hey, man, you never know. It's looking like Thad is certainly man on a mission. 17.2 seconds back is Josh Strang. We see him going through the pits there a moment ago, but he's 17.2 seconds back in the number 3 spot. Fred, I don't know if you could hear, but through my headphones and about 250 or 300 yards and a bunch of motorhomes and generators, I swear I could hear the crowd down on Pro Row screaming for Thad Duvall when he made his way down the BP Fuels Pro Row.
That you sure could, Rodney, because that's Thad Duvall's pit straight down below us. You can hear his whole pit crew yelling and screaming, and he's close to home, so he's got a whole bunch of fans here, and it's just interesting to see how close Thad Duvall is going to be when they come to that creek jump down there. And, you know, I think Thad's walked the track. He's looked around, and Caleb knows the track just as well as he does. Yeah. And those two guys both know where they kind of got a line if they need to use it to try to pass each other. But I look for a really close racing coming up here shortly.
Hey, Fred, you hit the nail on the head. I'm standing here at the finish line, and when Caleb Russell came through, only 4 short seconds later, Thad Duvall came through. He does have a visual on him right now, and that's absolutely putting the drive and the fire in the KR4 machine right now. But a very valid point. Fred said when you got eyes on him, it's easier to chase, and right now that distance seems a lot closer than 4 seconds.
Well, and Caleb's not used to this. Caleb's used to having that big old cushion. You know, he's used to getting out a minute or two and settling in on his pace, which is still a really fast pace. Well, right now he's really fast pace. He's got Thad Duvall right there riding with him.
And Thad is feeling good right now. We're going to keep an eye on that. We'll be getting some updates from Bill Allen, Jared Bolton, and the guys from off the racetrack here.
Thad Duvall is right on Caleb Russell. That's the one.
10-4, Bill. We are monitoring you, and we're going to listen to every update you throw out our way, so keep us updated, all right?
Copy that.
So Bill Allen out of Athens, Ohio, one of the biggest race fans besides myself. I think me and him are probably two of the biggest race fans on the planet. Out giving us some racetrack call coming up here in a few moments. I'm going to run through some of the more of these classes. Hank Hayes again in the 200B class. New Kensington, PA's Adam Parker, the 371 in the number 2 spot there. Teague Securo, who got the whole shot in this class, the 311 out of Fairmont, West Virginia, is third. Cass Jacobs, the 402 out of Sarasota, Florida, is fourth. Johnny Manera out of Millville, New Jersey, rounds out your top 5. Now we go to our next B class, and we see Brendan Poling is leading the 4-stroke B lights class. He's out of Grafton, West Virginia on the 326. Troy Lieberman out of Columbus, North Carolina, the 292 in second. Justin Murphy out of Morgantown, West Virginia is third. He's riding the 97. 229, Hunter Williams out of Sophia, North Carolina is fourth. And Eric Ross, the 400 from Beverly, West Virginia, rounds out your top 5. Next class we take a look at here in the Midway Report. Well, this one's being led by Wayne Skidmore. That's the Vet 30-plus class, the B class. Wayne Farnsworth running in second. Skidmore out of Mount Savage, Maryland, where in Ohio is home to Farnsworth. Back in the number 3 spot, the 367 of South Park, Georgia's Jared Hoffman. Fourth place, 370, Adam Glass out of Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. And Oakboro, North Carolina is home to Carson Meisenheimer, the number 522. Now we look past the Vet B class. I believe we'll look at the Senior A-B class next, or actually Senior B class. Christian Broombaugh out of Williamsburg, Pennsylvania, a 4-minute, 49-second lead over the 638 of Gene Swidwa from Sarver, PA. 232 Jeffrey Flynn out of Oldfields, West Virginia is running in third. 931 Darren Darmos out of Amherst, Ohio is fourth. And Leon Whittiver out of Warren, Ohio rounds out the top 5s. From the Senior B to the XC2 Pro Lights quickly, we see Lane Michael leading by 2 minutes and 8 seconds at the last check. That might be a little larger lead than that now, but Lane did check in with a 28.02, which was a little slower than his previous laps. It's going to drop him in the overall, I think, a little bit right now, too. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll check that in just a moment. But we're waiting on DeLong to check in second. Trevor Bollinger in third. Michael Witkowski fourth. Nick Davis in fifth. Benjamin Kelly in sixth. Josh Toth in seventh. Francis in 8th, Tegan Temple in 9th, and Ryder Lafferty rounding out the top 10. Some big changes and some unexpected changes, I think, there in that XC2 Pro-Am class today. Open A class now. The 44, Vincent Smith, after 3 laps out of Nashville, Indiana, leading Brady Myers, the 48 out of Walker, West Virginia, by 49.5 seconds. Jeremy Taylor, the 327 out of Canton, Ohio. He runs in third. Fourth place, Dylan Rash from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on the 37. And big Jim, actually this is little Jim Steiner, the 365 out of Van Etten, New York, rounds out the top 5. Now we go to the 258 class. Zach Nolan, 22nd overall. He's your current overall leader right now out of Masontown, West Virginia. We saw him in this position just a week ago and gunning for it again here. And the American card goes amateur overall. 36 of Chris Vendetti out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, running second, about a minute back. Alex Teagarden, another contender for those overalls in the amateur ranks there. We've seen him on the podium more than once this year out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, running third right now. Ryan Slotko out of Londonderry, Ohio is fourth. Sean Benhart out of Smithfield, Virginia, rounds out your top 5 in the 250A class. As we look next, this is the 4-stroke A, or the 200A, sorry about that. Chase Hayes out of Sumter, South Carolina, the 722, leading Jesse Ansley. That's something we don't see a whole lot of. Ansley out of Mayaca City, Florida, 10.7 seconds back right now, turning about a 22-second slower lap. Braden Moore, the 967 out of Ona, West Virginia, is running third. 317, Jace Knopp out of Mineral Wells, West Virginia, is fourth. Brandon Hayes out of Freeville, New York, rounds out the top 5 in the 200A class. As we look next to the 4-stroke A lights class, Braxton McGee in second in the lead out of Bowlville, North Carolina. Your early leader was the 704 Tristan Landrum. He's dropped to second now by about 10.7 seconds behind McGee. So Tristan Landrum second, 362 Dustin Simpson of the Wesley Chapel, North Carolina is third. Hunter Shelton, the 35 from Hartford, Tennessee, is fourth. And Tyler Braniff out of Terra Alta, West Virginia, the 395, rounds out your top 5. As we look next, we see the Junior AB 25-plus class where Lucas Towery's out front in this one. We mentioned this one a few moments ago. Lucas Towery, a minute and 23 seconds. Wow, he has really turned it on there since the last time we checked in with those guys. Over Andrew France, the 983 out of Louisville, Ohio. Josh Keys now up to third out of Scottsburg, Indiana, 2 minutes and 6 seconds behind him. And Joseph McCarty has now dropped off the fourth aboard the 426. He's out of Mount Clair, West Virginia. Mason Stevens, the 334 out of Wayne, West Virginia. That's my home stomping grounds for my family down there in West Virginia, by God, and he rounds out the top 5. Mason Stevens again. Now we go to the Vet A 30-plus class. Nathan Allring out of Cincinnati, Ohio, a 2-minute, 2-second lead on board the 94. Now this is Big Jim Steiner. This is the papa of all the kids out there racing we keep talking about. Little Timmy, Little Sammy, and Little Jimmy. But this is Big Jim Steiner, 75 out of Van Etten, New York. The Joe Marsh, the 39 out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The 455 of Joe Dean out of Mills River, North Carolina. And 284 Ryan Inman out of Morgantown, West Virginia. That's your Vet A 30-plus class and your Senior A 40-plus class with that Infab and Pro Yamaha support. The number 60 Shotgun Sean Remington out of New Salem, Ohio. A 5-minute, 38-second lead over Todd Morrow, the 353 out of Sharon, PA. And I haven't read that name in quite a while, it seems like. Frank Tussle, the 360 out of Scotch Plains, New Jersey, is third. Rob Brown, Moto Fro, the number 495 out of Drury, Massachusetts, is fourth. Harry Engelhart, the number 124 out of Charlotte, North Carolina, rounds out the top 5 in the Senior A 40-plus class. And our leaders due in about 2 minutes. That's about 2 hours. We're about elapsed, and our leaders are due in about 17 minutes. And, of course, Thad Duvall, last report, all over the rear wheel of our defending champion and quite possibly soon to be crowned 4-time GNCC champion Caleb Russell. Can Thad Duvall steal the win away from Russell today and stop his momentum? Stick around and find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
As riders and racers, we understand the need to get quality parts, apparel, and accessories fast. We have the horsepower of multiple warehouses to make sure your gear, OEM parts, or accessories make it to your door quickly. Check out our easy-to-use website and experience customer service that takes the whole shot. RockyMountain8VMC.com. Get ready.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Fred Andrews. Also, we got Johnny Gallagher out and about with us, along with Megawatt Matt Watson, as we are joined now at the 9.5-mile marker. And, of course, watching a lot of great action here at the Powerline Park, GNCC. One of the famed places here, of course, is the Powerline Mud Hole. And yesterday during ATV racing action, the afternoon ATV XC1 Pro class was the first riders to see the Powerline Mud Hole, so it was really soft, and those guys absolutely had no idea of what to expect to see there. And we see the first time through, Adam McGill making his way down through, and everybody giving him the go, 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 and you can see he launches it, and look how soft that is. It nearly stops him on a dime. His feet go up, and the other riders coming over the jump behind him, all they see is those two boots sticking up over the face of that jump. They don't know what to expect when they get on the other side. Chris Borich reading is on that, and then we got Walker Fowler there was in third. That's how closely together they were, and there is McClure. Look at that, up over the bars there. And there is the Coastal Racing rider, and man, he is nearly taken out. He's taken out.
Cole Richardson.
Cole Richardson took him out, trying to take out the competition's team help there. Bryson Hill coming not too far behind those guys as well on board the number 5. But man, yesterday, that first time through, so you can see you can see that that was a lot sloppier there yesterday and a lot harder to traverse. It got better as the day went on, and of course as the day went on, Adam McGill took a win here. Congratulations to him for that, and as well just another great day, and congratulations to Walker Fowler on capturing championship number 2 as he wrapped up that second national title yesterday with second place.
And you know, this too, fair play to the quad guys. It's a lot harder to jump and land in the mud in a quad when you got 4 tires hitting the ground than what you do too. But you know, Adam McGill, he was the first guy to actually jump it, like you said, and he. Heck, further the better, he thought.
Yeah, I mean, you talked to a lot of guys. I talked to a guy that raced the 10 o'clock race yesterday, and he was never so happy to know that they had taken it out. He said he spent an hour and 20 minutes in that section just trying to decide whether he wanted to try to go around it or try to jump it. And for Gary Whitaker's sake, they took it out, and he didn't have to worry about it. So and he had a pretty good day yesterday, all in all, even without the Powerline jump there. Well, right now, Fred, we are a little over 2 hours into this race. Our leaders are due in here in about a little under 13 minutes as we check in with Bill Allen once again out on the track. Bill, what's the latest update we've got?
Rodney, I was at the 5-4, and Caleb had about 5 seconds on Thad, and Timmy, our sweep rider, was out about the 5.5, and Thad was all over Caleb again. They're getting into a little bit of traffic, and the course is great out in the woods, Rodney. There's a lot of lines, and they're all good.
10-4, so a lot of great passing opportunities, chances to make up time if necessary.
Absolutely, and they're going to need it with the people they're coming up on.
10-4, thanks, BA. Keep us updated. We'll keep an ear out.
And we talked a little bit about that yesterday, Rodney. Right now, Thad's actually in a better spot than Caleb when he catches up to the slower riders, because Caleb's got to make a noise. He's got all the adrenaline to try to get by them. When the rider does pull over for them, Thad just sneaks right on by, right behind him.
That's right, and that's a great position to be in. And right there, this is something that we don't see a lot of. And I tell you, it's a good test for both riders. Number one, it's a good test for Thad. See if he can maintain the level that Thad is, that Caleb is going to try to reach and achieve. And secondly, now that Thad is matching that pace today, whether or not Caleb is going to be able to rise to the occasion and stretch it back out. You know, I've got my wonders about it. You've got your what you think is going to happen scenario, but I'm telling you right now, I really don't know. I mean, you think, okay, well, he's going to feel the pressure. He's going to put his head down. He's going to force Thad into a mistake by just riding at that level. But right now, man, I think Thad might be the one pushing the level.
Yeah, he's in the relaxed spot right now, Rodney. He's the guy behind. He can just follow. He can see the bumps. He can see what's happening. And Thad's actually, he's really relaxed right now. But I think it's going to be cool when we see him come out of the woods into those big grassy sections. That's where maybe Thad's going to try to run in a little bit hard on Caleb and try to get around him and pass him on the outside, or maybe outside inside him. So these big open fields are going to be really cool to watch, to see the different lines, because there's going to be some passing going on out there in those fields, and maybe we can even get on camera. Right now, here we come down the hill right now with Caleb Russell's in first, and you know, Thad's just right there. He's in he's 3 seconds behind him or
10-4,
so.
thank you. Yep, there's Caleb Russell right there, and there we see Thad Duvall just a handful of seconds back right there. And again, Caleb not looking back behind him right now, not wanting to, again, give Thad that satisfaction to let him know
little
he's
mess
back
up
there.
right there on Caleb. It's going to allow Thad to catch up a little bit more on him.
Man, how much of an inspiration does that have? Did you see how hard he charged out of that rock garden right there when he saw Caleb make that little bobble? He wants to get up there. He wants to start making Caleb a little bit nervous, because he knows if he can start showing him a wheel in some of those turns, man, it could change the face of this race pretty quick.
It sure could, Rodney. Like you said, he wants to get as close as he can. When Caleb made that little bobble, man, that just gave him a little bit more energy. And here comes Josh Strang through that same section right there. Feet on the pegs, a little step here and there, and right on through goes Josh Strang in third place on his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna.
And right now we'll be expecting to see Lane Michael checking through. He has dropped down to 6th place overall, and I think that's about where he sits on the racetrack right now physically, believe it or not, as Ricky Russell has gotten around the number 7 there for the 4th place position. So Jordan Ashburn now back in the number 5 spot. Look back quickly at the XC2 Pro Lights and how that class in particular is doing. 2 minutes and 36 seconds is now the lead that Lane Michael has over 2nd place Craig DeLong. Back in the number 3 spot, only 1.2 seconds back and running about a 23-second faster lap at the end of the last time around Trevor Bollinger. So in theory right now, Trevor Bollinger should be up to the number 2 spot, and that's good news for him because good momentum right now is good news because he's getting ready to head a long ways away to go do some racing. He's actually going to visit our sister series over in Japan. They call the GNCC, and we had a chance to check in with Trevor Bollinger to talk a little bit about that with him.
Yeah, the GNCC guys, they asked me if I was interested in going over there, and I know Chris went last year and got to work with HRC Honda, so it's going to be pretty cool for me to go over there and work with those guys and see where all our bikes are made and yeah, race the Japanese. I'm pretty good friends with Takeshi, so I'll get to see him again, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I like traveling, I like getting out, and you know, coming from a small town, it's good to get out and see the world, and you know, I'm looking forward to it. I don't really get that nervous. You know I put in the work, and my team's put in the work, and everybody's did the work, so it's just more of enjoyment once you get on the bike and start racing.
There you go, and let's hope that he does not cut his hair. He says that he's not cutting his hair until after at least the championship. It's kind of like a Samson Delilah thing going on. So right there is Trevor Bollinger going to Japan, and of course Chelsea Taylor, our production or director, back behind us right now, saying she cannot wait to go to Japan. And she said, I know, Rodney, you're the only one who cares, but wait a minute, Fred Andrew cares. You've been there before, right?
Yes, right. And I've been there a couple of times. It's a great place to see, and you know they treat us really well over there. And Trevor's going to be a good representative for the GNCC, and he's going to have a great time.
They treat them like royalty over there. I know the Robinsons, they've been over there, some of the other North Carolina folks, and, well, a lot of different riders. I mean, several of them go over and represent the United States, and we get a couple of JNCC riders that come and visit with us over the course of the year, and we really appreciate the camaraderie between the two nations and these two championship series themselves. So right now, continuing to watch, I'm looking at these XC2 Pro Light standings right now. Bollinger moving up. Nick Davis only a couple seconds behind him. There's another thing to point out. Trevor's being pushed to Craig, so this is a good three-way battle we're starting to see shape up back there in the XC2 Pro Lights class, I think.
Yeah, you know, Craig DeLong's had a few off weekends the last few weekends, and I know I talked to him and his dad this morning. His dad said, you know, Craig needs to get his stuff together this weekend, and get back on the podium. And, you know, he's in second place right now, and he's really riding well on his Coastal Husqvarna. So my hat's off to him for doing well. And, you know, like I said, Nick Davis, he's just back on that beta. He's getting more used to it, so he's looking to do better. And then you got Trevor Bollinger in the middle, who's won some races. So that's a really good group of guys to be with right now.
You saw the number 60, a shotgun Sean Remington heading down the hill there. That is one of your senior class leaders, I believe, out there on the course with us right now. And speaking on the course, let's check in with the track crew again. Bill Allen, last time we saw the leaders coming through, Caleb Russell made a little bobble in the rock garden, and Thad had got a little bit closer. What's it looking like right now?
I'm waiting for them right now, Rodney, at the 8.9. They're getting ready to head into Dead Deer Hollow, and it's very rocky and very technical once they drop in. They're not here yet, but they're on their way. I'll give you an update in just a sec.
10-4. And Fred, we talked a little bit about Dead Deer Holler yesterday. That right there, a very tricky section of the race course. Like you said, there's a lot of rocks and stuff like that. We'll talk about that in just a second. Go ahead, Bolt Tom.
There you are, Rodney. Caleb just went by. Thad's right behind him. They're very close. I think Thad's at it. He's going to go for it today.
I think you might be right. That's pretty evident right there. Yeah, he's right there in the thick of it all right now. So, wow, so Josh Strang still back there in the third place position. So, man, I tell you, that's pretty impressive stuff. Again, I mean, even Bill Allen's called. I think Thad's going for it today. I think the proof is in the pudding, man.
Yeah, he's definitely not. You know, it's Caleb's not doing his usual where he's been able to get away from these guys, and kind of like what Chris Borg said. You know you can run the pace with the leader, but they always get so far ahead, and you run that pace, well, you can't see them, so you can't get anything on them. So right now, Thad Duvall's got himself in the perfect situation. He's right on him.
We're looking right here that now looking, trying to decipher whether or not this is Nick Davis. We're getting a report that possibly that's Nick. We see Tommy Harris there at the big orange helmet on, the safety orange helmet, and we see several track crew members down there. So obviously something is going on right there, and it could be Nick Davis. We'll try to get a better report on that coming up here in just a few moments.
And right now I think we're waiting on Craig DeLong and the crew to come for the XC2 class to come through the hill down here through the open grass section. And that looks like, no, that's not him. But you can see, I mean, the track turned out perfect. There's no dust. There's great loam still being thrown up the rear wheel. And right here comes Craig DeLong right now looking over his shoulder, and I think you're right. I think they have actually closed up on him, Rodney.
Yeah, they, according to timing and scoring, I mean, it looked like they were getting a little bit closer out there.
Yeah, I mean, Nick should be right over here, so I don't think that's Nick down at the mud hole. I don't think. But look up, Trevor Bollinger is actually ahead of Craig DeLong right now.
He most certainly is, and that means that Nick Davis
is right behind him.
Should be right behind him right now. If that's not him down at the mud hole, and that's, I mean, I don't want to see anybody down, but we certainly hope that Nick is not finding himself in any situations as well.
So it looks like Trevor Bollinger's starting to put that last little few lap, pace going on. He's trying to chase down the leader.
I tell you, there's something about that guy, man. He just gets stronger as the day goes on. I tell you, how it's like a warm up. The first 2 hours is like the warm up for him. The race comes on in the last hour for him, and we'll keep an eye on his lap times to see how they're looking right now as we look at it. Trevor Bollinger last time around turned a 28:07, and Lane Michael turned a 28:02. So Lane kind of slowed his pace down just a little bit in from the 27.5s and that we've seen earlier in the race, and still a 2+ minute lead. And 2 lap board is out in theory right now. Unless Lane makes a big mistake, he should be able to carry this one on home and take that convincing win. Put that explanation point on. I know we talked about and heard you guys talking about him not being able to sleep all week because he had that bad taste in his mouth left from Masontown, West Virginia, coming up short. Well, I think this right here goes to show that, well, he got that taste taken care of.
That he did, Rodney. You're right. He can settle down a little bit. He can slow his pace down a little bit because he has built up such a big lead and a little bit of cushion there.
But that's what he did last time, too. Maybe he don't want to settle down. Maybe he wants to keep riding that intensity.
Well, even if he's still riding intensity and Trevor Bollinger's going faster, Trevor's not going to go 2 minutes faster that last lap. Unless, Lane's got a lot of bad luck. And here's our boy Johnny back from pedaling up the hill. I think maybe he's got some great news for us.
All right, come back on that 10 mile update real quick.
Caleb Russell put a couple seconds on Thad Duvall out here.
10-4. All right, so we see that Caleb is starting to stretch out just a little bit, a couple of seconds anyway. Johnny G, what's the word?
I'll tell you what, I was out there doing a little pedaling around, just checking things out, and track conditions are actually changing, it seems. The stuff that was really slick, at least from what I can see just inside the woods there, is really starting to tack up. I don't know if it's the wind that's really picked up out there that's drying things out, but I think the real story is that the way the fans are getting behind Thad Duvall right now. I mean, there's really a lot of people out there. As we see Caleb Russell working his way through to the finish line, I believe he's got a shadow there.
Yeah, and now that opened up just a little bit, but we're looking at 3-4 seconds between these guys pretty much this entire lap, and there ain't much more than that, if there is any more than that right now, as Caleb winds his way through the Amsoil chicanes right now and toward those closing turns to the checker flag or finish line. White flag, I think, is what we'll be seeing this time out. And man, oh man, this is going to get good. White flag is going out. We're getting the official word on that right now as Caleb Russell rounds that corner. Last time around, they were 4.3 seconds apart, a 26:29 for Caleb Russell, a 26:15 this time around, a 26:22 last time around for Thad Duvall. This time he turned a 26:15. 0.7 and 0.3 is the only thing that separate those two. So really, Thad Duvall overall only gained Caleb Russell only stretched it out 0.4 of a second on that entire lap of racing.
Got to tell you what I just saw, Rodney. When those guys came through the finish line, Caleb pretty cool and relaxed, but let me tell you, when Thad came through, over the bar, standing on the pegs, immediately on the gas, and made a huge blast exiting the finish line area, trying to make best use of this last lap.
Well, I tell you right now, I mean, Thad couldn't be in any better situation than what he's in, and he's matching the pace. Caleb Russell picked up the pace. I mean, we're looking at times right now. I mean, we were astonished at 26:30s. That was 15 seconds faster. And guys, I think you have to tend to agree with me. Track conditions maybe starting to change a little bit, but you would think that they would be becoming more challenging. Is that the case? Do you think that's the case? The track is getting faster. These guys are just pushing it harder.
They're pushing it harder. There's a little bit more grip, but I think the biggest thing is, the track's starting to get rough. The lines are starting to change, and I really think this last lap's going to come down to who can recognize those lines as they change, who can hit the right lines first, and obviously, we're talking about a 4-second gap here, but we've seen that gap hold steady for an entire lap. So you got to ask yourself, obviously Thad Duvall appears to be sitting in the catbird seat, but for an entire lap he's been pushing as hard as he can, and he just can't quite get to that rear wheel. So what's going on out there in the woods that we're not seeing that is just maintaining that ever so slight gap? Fred, as a racer, obviously 4 seconds is not a cushion by any means, but wheel-to-wheel racing is where you want to be if you're that guy in second. You don't want to be 4 seconds behind, because that allows the opportunity for a lapper to get in between. That allows the opportunity for him to sprint just that one little bit when he rounds a corner. There's so many variables there. If you're Thad Duvall, I think you want to get right to the rear wheel of Caleb Russell, no?
Yes, sir. You're 100% correct. Like you said, if you get one lapper in between you, it's over almost. You want to be wheel-to-wheel, because right now Thad's riding the wheels off that thing and he can see him. Well, if that would make a little hiccup and Caleb would get away from me, he can't see him, then that starts to play with your head. For sure, Johnny, you're right on that. But one thing I've noticed too, those two have picked up the pace, and Josh Strang is actually, they're dropping Josh Strang in third position right now. Josh is just comfortably by himself.
You got to believe, though, if you're Josh Strang.
Get this, 1 minute and 26 seconds back now. So he has lost even more time. At 27:25, they were a full minute and 10 seconds faster on that lap that last time around.
You got to ask yourself, though, guys, if you're Josh Strang, coming off the weekend you just had in Masontown, I mean, obviously this is a guy that just a few weeks ago was vying for a national title, and still technically on paper is, unless things play out the way they appear to be right now, he's the last guy with a mathematical shot at making this happen. But at the same time, here's a guy that was really at I would say the rock bottom of his season just 7 days ago. Went out after being injured, wasn't even able to score top. Oh, look at this. Josh Strang coming by, steam pouring off the factory Husqvarna, absolutely in a cloud of smoke as he's coming through. He has got a problem with that machine, I can tell you that for sure. I'm watching this out the side of our studio here, so we'll have to see if we can see that on camera at the mud jump. But
if he makes it to the mud jump.
Well, now hold on. We do have to keep in mind before we set the viewers at home in panic. He did just come from the VP Fuels Pro route. Is it possible that he stopped in there, they spilled something, and/or rinsed the radiators out, and that's water coming out of the radiators that they've actually rinsed out going onto the engine? I'm going to play devil's advocate here, but it didn't look good from what I saw.
Well, there goes Thad Duvall over the famous Powerline mud jump.
And just in front of him was Caleb Russell. So those, again, we looked a little closer than that 4 seconds, though, Rodney. What do you think? Is he listening to Fred Andrews? Is he going to get right up to that rear wheel?
He's trying. I think he's pushing with everything that he can. But right now, Caleb is his biggest obstacle in that 4 seconds that he's trying to make up. And we saw Caleb make a mistake there through the rock garden a little bit ago. So we know that Caleb, even as great as he is and as a fine-tuned rider as he is, he too can make mistakes. And this final lap of racing, depending on what's going through his mind right now.
I don't want to do it. One thing's for sure, when these two are done, Thad and Caleb are going to left nothing on the table.
Here we see Strang, and as he lets off the gas, you can see that plume of white smoke coming out again as he works his way down there. So now he's gone about another mile into the course. There's still steam coming out of that factory Husqvarna. So we have to find out if that's something that's a manageable, just a little setback, or if that's a problem that could potentially affect him.
Is it smoke coming out the back of the exhaust, Johnny, or do you think it's actually coming out the radiators?
I believe it's coming out of the radiators, but I don't know. We'll have to see exactly what that is. But it's something that I can tell by the steam. It's not good. That's just my uninformed opinion, but I noticed it coming across the field, and it doesn't look good. So we'll have to see if that machine's going to stay together the rest of the way. We'll see it here in just a moment as he comes down to this creek jump, and we'll see if we can see that steam. And Fred, the most that's
not from Josh Strang's bike.
Here's an interesting point mention, though, as we watch him on camera, as he should be coming here any moment, when we see steam, that's a good thing.
Come back on that, Bill Allen.
What's under there? Clear the power point. Still about 4 seconds between them, and both of them cleaned it. No problems at all going out.
10-4. We'll be listening.
So, Fred, as we're watching, Josh Strang should be coming. It looks like the fans are starting to get a little antsy, and there he comes around. I think when we really have a problem is when we stop seeing steam, because that means there's no coolant left in that radiator. I don't see any steam coming from that machine.
It don't look good.
If there is a problem with the radiator, Johnny, you are 100% correct. Steam is your friend, and then when the steam is gone, you don't last very long without water.
I tell you what, I mean, I've seen some machines do some amazing things. I've seen bikes go, 20, 30 minutes with no coolant, and I think that's right about the time we're looking at. What are we looking at, 27-minute lap times?
Yeah, and if you look at it right now, we seen steam up until just a minute or so ago, so he's looking at about 20 minutes that he's going to have to try to ride with a dry bike there as far as the radiator is concerned. Man, I tell you, his oils are really going to be put to the test today.
Yeah, and again, we're making an assumption here. We don't have the concrete information, but we saw plumes of steam coming off that machine, and now we see none. So it's possible that the machine cooled down and it's no longer overheating, but more likely than not, I'd say what we're looking at is an issue of coolant escaping that is either for one reason or another stopped escaping, or he's run out of coolant to escape. There we see the 212 MCS Suzuki, Ricky Russell. Again, what another great ride for this guy today.
Fourth place right now. He's really riding the wheels off that Suzuki really well, and if he's got a chance of maybe being on the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. He did a little bit of luck, but it could happen today. And just behind him, another great ride for Jordan Ashburn, that number 7 Westfield Power Sports KTM there in the 5th place spot. He's really been having some good rides, and honestly, Jordan, a good ride today in 5th, but on this track, on these conditions, I actually expected Jordan to be up there battling for a podium spot. He's so good when things get slick, and we'll have to see after the race exactly, what struggles he may have undertook, or if the pace of that front 3 was just a little bit much for him today.
Yeah, he was right there earlier in the race. He was in 3rd place. He was right where he needed to be, and then something happened, and he lost a whole bunch of time. And like you said, Johnny, I'm not sure what happened there, but we'll try to get a word with him later on and find out what happened to him on that lap and, why he fell back. But, Jordan Ashburn, too, right now, he's in a great position where he hasn't been in a while. He knows he's got a deal for the next few years, so he can rest a little bit easy. Not that he's going to slow down the track any, but he's got a good off-season coming ahead of him.
Yeah, and like you said, Fred, I mean, that's something that definitely plays into these guys' minds as we see Craig DeLong there working his way past that looks to be his dad, Mark DeLong, there with the pit board, giving him the update on exactly where he's at and how things are shaping up for him. And, definitely not to be taken lightly is the security of Jordan Ashburn, knowing he has that ride for the next 2 years, I believe. He signed that contract, and that begins after Ironman. So he'll get those bikes, start working with that factory beta team, and on that, I believe according to the press release, he'll be riding that 390 RR. So that'll be the first we've seen of that machine. Unless, I don't know, Corey Buttrick may have raced that machine last year. I'm not exactly certain, but to see that machine in XC1, obviously, is going to be a little bit of change. They've got a few riders in XC2. Obviously, Johnny Albert this weekend here on the factory bid, he's on the 252 stroke. So definitely will be interesting to see how that pans out. But, great opportunity for Jordan, and good to see nice things happening for that young man out of Tennessee. And looks to be Lane Michael. There he is at the Powerline mud jump. Cleans it, no problem, and up on the pegs. He's got, we'll have to see exactly what his lead is in that XC2 class there.
In over 2 minutes at last check. It's 2 minutes and 12, caught 2 minutes 13 seconds now over Trevor Bollinger, who's all the way back in 11th overall. Lane Michael is currently 6th overall. As we take a look at the top 10, Russell, Duvall, Strang, Ricky Russell in 4th, Jordan Ashburn in 5th. Again, Lane Michael 6th, Grant Baylor is 7th, Chris Bach in 8th, Corey Buttrick in 9th, and Stu Baylor running back there in the number 10 spot. And again, I don't know what's going on with Stu, but with the amazing performances we've seen out of him recently, a 10th place, 8th in class really seems to be kind of subpar for this guy. And I hate to say that, but I mean, I think we and everybody else, he included, expected and hoped for more out of today.
2 things about that, Rodney. Number 1 of which is, again, that first lap we did see him with that strange black, mud from nowhere.
Right,
you don't know where it came from. Could have been some struggles early. But secondly, how awesome is it that we're talking about a 10th overall, 8th in class being a rough day for Stu Baylor?
I know.
Here's a guy literally a couple months ago we would have said, hey, if Stu can get in the top 10, that's a great ride for him, because he's been building himself back from the injuries that he had, from the bad seasons that he's had. So to see a guy that we now expect to be in the top 5, expect to be battling for top 5s and podiums, and say, man, Stu finished 8th today. Boy, that was an off day for him. That's actually a testament to how far he's come, and kudos to him and that entire program and everything that he's built around him to make that happen.
Exactly, I agree. And looking a little further back in the pack, we're talking about Zach Nolan, the 22 place position, the 721 is Zach Nolan, your 250A class leader. And I tell you, folks, that's some good things for Zach Nolan, another top amateur overall. Looks like he is in the process of making happen. Well, as we wind this race down today, Johnny, and we are somewhere in the neighborhood of probably close to 15 minutes now before we'll probably be seeing that checker flag. 14:48 is what the computer's saying. I kind of reflect back on what this day has held for us. I mean, we started out with the youth classes. We saw the great thing. We crowned the champion there, and then we saw Becca Sheets come out. And I tell you what impressed me about the WXC class win today more than anything is the fact that as hungry as she has been, even after claiming that title last week, she came out here very hungry again today. And we actually had a chance to catch up with Becca.
I don't even know how to say it. I've never wanted something so bad, and it didn't kind of really click in my head until this year. I've thought about it in years past, but I don't, I was just kind of well, we'll get there, and then this year I just kind of felt like this was my year, and I don't know, I couldn't be happier. It seems like, a small weight was lifted, but it's almost like a little bit more pressure's added because, you're kind of trying to figure out plans for next season, and it's like you're expected to win before, but now people really want you to keep winning, and I want that too for myself, but I don't know, I always keep pretty hard pressure on myself, so it's all right.
And congratulations to Becca again on that wonderful championship that she was able to achieve. We're just getting an update now from Bill Allen. What's going on out there, Bill? Sounds like we got some changes.
Yeah, a little bit. Just now coming through the 5-4, probably 30 seconds off the Caleb. I don't know what's happened, but there's definitely a gap now. Caleb's going strong.
Gen 4. So there it is. That was the break that Caleb was looking for, and that was the big question that we had. Could Thad keep that pace up, and would Caleb be able to raise the bar enough to make Thad say, okay, I've reached my limit? Because that's one thing that he talked about earlier today. He says, as I'm getting older, he says at one time I probably would have, pushed the envelope to reach that level. He says, but right now, whenever I reach a certain level, I say, this is as fast as I want to go. This is as hard as I want to push it. And he says, I just level out there. And, obviously, don't know if that's what the case was here in this particular incident today, but it would make a lot of sense.
Well, and I'll tell you what, I made that comment about Thad, being right in that 4-second range. And the reason why I made that comment, and, again, it's always funny to read on social media the people that feel, they like to do our jobs for us and tell us that we play favorites. But this is all I've done my entire life. And, I saw an issue with the fact that Thad was able to get that to 4 seconds and couldn't get any closer. Not in a bad way, but Thad was throwing everything he had at it, and Caleb Russell was just kind of managing that,
right,
keeping it just far enough that Thad wasn't within striking distance. Now, kudos to Thad. He's riding incredible. This race is far from over. 30 seconds does not decide a race win. There's still so many variables, but I think that we've seen that gap open up again. We'll that's what's great about the podium interviews. We'll find out. Did Caleb pick it up? Did Thad have a mistake? Was there a lapper involved? There's so many things that could have happened there. But I think this could have been a different race if Thad Duvall could have gotten right on that rear wheel and teed off him.
But the main thing, man, the confidence. This couldn't be coming at a better time. These guys getting ready to go to the ISDE. Thad's going to be a major factor in that. Caleb's going to be obviously a major factor in that. And this is good for Thad with his new ride coming up next year with the Factory Husqvarna team and stuff. This shows everybody, shows himself. He knows where that level is. He knows what he's got to push to. And now that he's found it, Johnny, it's a matter of just maintaining that. So, we might see a whole different season coming out of the gate next year in 2017.
100%. Couldn't agree more. And, sometimes we see guys that, have there's so many puzzle pieces that it takes to win races consistently and win a championship. And we've seen so many guys that could win a race that were never championship contenders. We've seen so many guys that could podium that could never win a race. Thad Duvall has all of those pieces, and it was like he was just lacking that one little piece or piece of guidance. And the man sitting here in the booth with us, Fred Andrews, I think was a big part of the program and a big part of the mental mindset of Thad Duvall today.
He got the ball rolling, that's for sure.
That took him from bad fast, wild child, tearing up machines, but he was so fast and so exciting to watch, and we all loved it. And suddenly we saw a guy that he's got a number 5 plate on his bike. That is his best finish yet. I don't know exactly where he's at in the points right now. I know it's been a rough season with some issues throughout this year, but to be able to have that great season he did last year, put it in the top 5 as we see Caleb Russell coming through there, and then choose to actually forego that well-known 989 number and run the number 5 in honor of his dad, because that was one of his dad's numbers back in the day. That really shows a lot of maturity, and I think Thad Duvall could, as you said, be a serious contender for this championship in 2017, and here he is.
Well, as you've seen, these last few races, Thad's been in the top 3. This last few races, the beginning of the year, we struggled a little bit. We had some problems, but that's part of racing, and Thad's put it together where he needs to. At the end of the year, he's been strong. So we had a little struggle at the beginning, and he's come on strong at the end. And Thad's mature, too. Sure, I've helped him, and I told Thad that I believed in him. I said, this is what I think we need to do, and Thad's done that, and Thad's worked hard his whole life, but it just didn't seem like he caught any breaks, and he's getting those breaks that he deserves.
Well, I don't know if you were paying attention when they came out of the rock garden right there. A little bit of a mistake by Thad Duvall coming there. Wasn't much of one, but I saw him, his head down, his body positioning still kind of aggressive, but did look a little bit different than we saw him the lap before, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to get the feedback from these guys on the podium and find out, what was the difference. We were kind of hyping up and hoping for a last lap shootout, bar to bar, tire banging, wheel banging, lapper bouncing, tree bark flying. That would have been really exciting. But again, this isn't over. We still got a couple miles left, and we got to keep in mind that whatever happened for that gap to materialize of 30 seconds, GNCC can be a cruel animal. It could easily go the other way, and we could see Caleb Russell coming in with Thad Duvall glued to his rear wheel, or vice versa, Thad Duvall leading this thing. But again, it's I think Thad, if it were a mistake, or if Caleb were able to just open up a gap, I think that might be what the posture and the little bit of discontentment that Thad is showing in his riding style. I think he knows he had this one in his grasp. He worked really hard today. He's worked really hard to get to this point. And when you're that close, it can be frustrating. But he's playing the long game, and it's awesome to see him mature as a rider and see his racecraft really come into its own.
Zach Nolan now moving into the top 20 overall from that 250A class now, as we look at timing and scoring.
Josh Strang still running strong. No more steam.
Wow. And again, like you said, I mean, there could be a number of reasons for that. That'll be an interesting question that he'll be answering, I think, with all that question that we have going for him right now. And does he seems to be riding the machine just like he would on any last lap with a gap ahead of.
I think that's blue smoke coming up the exhaust.
Yeah, that would be bad, because it was definitely steam before. So blue smoke would mean.
Maybe he's just killing mosquitoes.
Yeah, he's babying that.
Yeah, I was going to say that looks like that. He's not pushing it real hard.
Rodney, did you see the exchange between him and the Rockstar KTM guy or Rockstar Husqvarna guy on the side of the track? There was words exchanged, and I saw a couple of Rockstar Husky guys on bicycles take off with a sense of urgency after we were talking about that. So I think they're kind of monitoring him around the course and making sure he does make it to the finish line with if there is in fact any damage or issues with that machine. We're just speculating.
If all that is, if he's running without coolant and it ran out and so forth, that's a true testament, man, to these machines and his ability to be able to maintain it through the lap. I mean, it takes not only the machine, but it takes a smart rider to be able to ride it right.
Sure, absolutely. You gotta run a gear higher. You got to keep that machine as cool as you can if there is an issue. Cool as a cucumber right now is Ricky Russell. He's saying, man, 4th. I'm just going to keep charging because I really like the feeling of being on that podium. And he looked good up there last weekend, so great ride to back that up. And then Looks like we have a lap rider there. Oh, and here comes Jordan Ashburn. So Russell not exactly comfortable in that 4th spot. He could still have to tangle with the number 7 of Jordan Ashburn before this one's over.
Caleb Russell going to be looking at win number 39 if he can carry this one home another 5 minutes or so to the finish line and the checker flag, and win number 9 on the season, which will tie his and Juha Salmonen's best record as far as the most wins in a single championship season for the two-wheel side of things here in GNCC Racing. So some big things on the horizon here. Caleb Russell looking at claiming that 4th national championship as well, as we are, like I said, about 5 minutes away from some major celebrations here in the great state of Ohio. And what you couldn't ask for a more fitting place. I know we talk about, and even Caleb made mention of it, man. He goes, it seems like I got an awful lot of hometown races. I go to North Carolina, that's where I live now, so they think of me at home. I lived in West Virginia for a while, went to school there. That's a hometown race for me. He says, I grew up in Ohio and was born in Ohio. That's a hometown race for me. He says, I got a lot of hometowns, but he says, it makes him feel comfortable to be able to have that kind of fan support all over the United States like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing, Caleb being from Ohio, I heard you guys discussing this yesterday, or maybe it was this morning. I'm nearly certain that this is the first time Caleb has ever locked this championship up here. He's done it at Unadilla last year. He did it at, I believe, Somerset the year before. And the reason I know that is he actually raced the
150, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Josh Strang's done for the
did
day.
not make it.
Well, that's a tough break for him, but man, what a big break for Ricky Russell now.
And I'm going to go ahead.
And look, you look at his radio shroud is gone too,
Yeah.
so it's definitely a radio. You can see all the.
You got to wonder, Fred. I'm wondering if they didn't maybe rip that off there in an attempt to try and fix that machine. You can see that is actually the Rockstar Husqvarna team manager, Timmy Wiegand there, and they're trying to fire that machine up. You can see the blue smoke. Josh Strang dejected. That is unfortunate. So close. Fred, where they're at, that's right out by the gate there. That's maybe, if anything, a mile and a half.
It's almost all downhill.
Yeah,
almost.
You could almost roll it from there. Unfortunately, you can see some of the KTM guys coming over to maybe offer a little bit of assistance, but unfortunately, I think this is going to be a situation of pushing that machine back.
And that's another heartbreak like we saw yesterday. A guy rides the wheels off that bike all day long, and has the bottom fall out right at the finish.
Yeah.
Well, tough break there for Josh Strang, but like we were talking a little bit earlier, kind of a ripple effect of what is when the drop dropped in the water there for Josh Strang, and the ripples started rolling, and it's going to look like pan out in the favor of Ricky Russell as he's looking for a podium position finish. If I'm not mistaken, this is his first XC1 podium finish. Did he have one earlier this year?
Ricky Russell last weekend.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this would be 2 in a row for him.
Wow.
Talk about getting the ball rolling.
Wow, that is, I forgot about that. And that was his first ever podium for that team last weekend. And the first podium for Suzuki since the last time that Josh Strang took a podium for them for so many years ago. That had kind of slipped my mind. I forgot. But, yeah, Ricky really on the gas. So 2 weeks in a row, man. Talk about getting yourself in great position. That's exactly what he's done. And look at that. Heartbreaker for Josh Strang. But how about it, man? I mean, from that particular incident where it's a heartbreaker, but when we look out front, man, we have nothing but pure excitement and thrills because Caleb Russell motoring his way around now about 2.5 minutes away from championship number 4.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that seals the deal either way. Caleb doesn't even need to finish this race now.
It's over.
Josh Strang is out. So, technically the race would revert back a lap.
Here comes Trevor Bollinger onto the grass section here.
Yeah, did we see Lane Michael come through?
No, but I think that's when we were watching Josh Strang's, I believe.
Sure. We don't want to incite a panic with anyone. Just because we didn't see him doesn't mean it didn't happen. Bollinger taking a look over his shoulder, and got to wonder who it is he's looking for. We do know that in his shadow was Nick Davis. Craig DeLong also in the area. So we see they're right in a pit board. That looks to be Barry Hawk there. So I'm wondering if he didn't get around Craig DeLong there.
Yeah, he got around Craig DeLong the last lap.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm a lap behind. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Craig was actually about 17 seconds behind Bollinger.
There he is, and Davis hot on his tail. So this is the battle for the final podium spot in XC2. DeLong and Davis all over the back of him.
And these two race at home. Nick Davis might have just fell down.
Did he save it? He
Nope.
didn't. Oh,
Oh,
yes,
well, there
he
he
did
is.
save
Okay.
it.
Yeah, those two race at home in the Winona Series, and they race week in, week out together. So those two are used to racing against each other. So it's going to be interesting to see how much pressure, if Nick Davis can get back up on there and put some pressure on him, if he can get around him before the finish, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a podium's big, obviously, for anybody. But, those two guys, Craig DeLong has had a rough way to go the last couple of weekends. New York, he was definitely not happy with his ride there. And then to come back out and hit last weekend at Masontown, he ran out of gas on the last lap while running in a strong spot. And really was not a good day for him. So to come back and put it on the podium, and obviously to make 2 Coastal machines on the podium will be good for him. Obviously, Nick wants to get that new ride, the factory beta, up on the podium for the second time in 3 races.
Well, we're just less than a minute away before we anticipate the arrival of Caleb Russell at the finish line here at the Polaris Ace Powerline Park GNCC. And here comes your now 4-time GNCC champion through this Amsoil chicane section, uncontested, unpressured in his final lap of racing. Win number 9 on the season, besting his best season so far, or matching his best season so far. He's hoping to get 10 when we head to the Ironman, but here it is, folks. 1 step closer to another step in history. Win number 39, well on its way for Caleb Russell. That puts him to within 7 race wins of Scott Summers and the all-time wins record in two-wheel racing here in GNCC Racing. Man, this is another stepping stone, and believe it or not, what a great place to do it here in Ohio from where he's from. And there it is. The checker flag comes out. The fists are up. Caleb Russell is your Polaris Ace Powerline Park GNCC winner in the 16th running of the Powerline Park GNCC, my friends. And believe it or not, 15 years ago, that first running, whenever it first happened, the guy sitting right here beside us, Fred Andrews, actually took the first ever win here at Powerline Park, Fred. And I know, man, looking back on that day and looking back to this day, is Thad Duvall. You can hear the cheers from the crowd as he fist pumps the crowd there.
Did you catch that?
I don't think that was a fist pump. I think that was taking that goggle off.
That was a very
I'm not very
aggressive
happy.
removal of the goggle strap. He's not a happy man. It'll settle in. He'll be pumped on that.
But
Obviously,
look at that crowd. They were down there to cheer on those 2 guys right there. 2 riders that they've watched grow up in GNCC racing, man. Those 2 riders farmed, if you will, literally through the GNCC ranks. They were planted as young youth riders many, many years ago, and here they've grown into great race champions and champion challengers here at Powerline Park. But man, what a great bit of history here in Ohio, Fred. And I mean, when you won this race the first time back, what was it, 2001? That was, man.
That's a long time ago.
I mean, would you ever think, number one, you'd still be involved with GNCC racing? Would you ever expect it to reach the level that it has now?
No, I'm glad I'm still involved in GNCC racing. I want to be involved with it for a long time still to come. But no, I mean, back then it wasn't like, I wish we had TV, and the whole sport has grown so much. There's so much more for the sponsors to get out of what we did. Before it was just in a magazine to come out a week later. Now it's all live, and it's just awesome to have everything done like that.
Congratulations to Dylan Kiggins at KigginsJD. He tweeted in an hour ago his podium position finish, and they took it down on me. I didn't get a chance. Okay.
And even though we're waiting,
all right. He guessed Russell, Duvall, and Strang, and man, he was so close, about a mile and a half or so away from being right.
But if he would have got it right, it would have said Russell, Duvall, Russell, and people would have been like, why is he
Well, it's not,
Russell
like I say, I don't know, right? Russell and Jordan Ashburn haven't come in yet, so we still have a race on our hands. We still got 3rd place, the final podium position to be done here.
Yeah, but here's
and they were close.
They were 7 seconds was at the last time they came around, but they were about that close, if not closer, whenever we seen them last out there coming out of the rock garden a few moments ago.
How about it if we see that we've been, we were thinking we were going to get to see that Thad Duvall, Caleb Russell battle. What if we get to see the Ricky Russell, Jordan Ashburn battle instead? And the fans, if you're down there by that podium area, you might want to work your way over by the finish line, because there might be some racing left to do. That's a yellow fender.
Yeah.
And we cut away from him, but that was Ricky Russell coming to the finish. There he is. Ricky Russell, you can see the fans hanging out over. Oh, was that Jordan Ashburn just behind him there? I mean, he's not close enough to be in striking distance, but he's only a second or 2 behind him.
Yeah, it'd only take a little bit of a mistake.
And I've fallen down closer to the finish line than that.
That is Jordan Ashburn. So, I mean, he knows he's there. You can see Ricky Ricky Russell not looking back. He's got to be loving this feeling, but Jordan Ashburn going to pressure him all the way. There is Ashburn in the 4th place spot. And those guys got about 2 turns to go, and we'll see who it is that comes through the finish line ahead.
A long dry spell for the yellow machines, the Suzukis, but finally Ricky Russell is doing it. This will be the 2nd consecutive race in a row in GNCC. We see these yellow machines on the podium, and Ricky Russell for the 2nd consecutive week takes 3rd place here at the AMSOIL GNCC. Today we're at Powerline Park, and man, what a great memory for that West Coast rider there out of the great state of Washington, the rough and rowdy one, Ricky Russell. Again, Caleb Russell taking the win. That's win number 9 on the season, win number 39 in his career. Thad Duval taking 2nd place. It was 26, almost 27 seconds back. A very disgruntled and unsatisfied Thad Duval as he crossed that finish line. And Ricky Russell some 3 minutes and 10 seconds back in the number 3 spot to wrap it all up there today. Now, that right there is some pretty cool things, but we still got that XC2 to look at. We still got the 250A class, or at least the overall top amateur, the American Cargo's top amateur award that we're going to be handing out here in a little bit. And we're looking for that to be Zach Nolan in that 250A class. And who's behind him and how far behind? I know that he had a pretty monumental lead there earlier in the race, just before the halfway point. Alex Teagarden was a couple of positions back in several minutes, but we look at the grand scheme of it now. 45 seconds is all that separated those two when they came into the final lap, and they were 1st and 2nd in their class, 20th and 21st overall. Looking at lap times, there was a 47-second difference between the two. Teagarden was that much faster with a 45-second gap. In theory, that's going to be a barn burner right down to the checkers.
Well, you know, as we wait and we watch for the 523 Coastal Husqvarna of Lane Michael to come working our way through, which we expect to be our XC2 leader based on what we've seen, our winner, I should say. You know, we can assume that, that looked to be Grant Baylor possibly there, which would mean Lane Michael should be coming because they've been pretty close together on the track a number of times. That is Grant there. Working his way through. That doesn't look to be Lane behind him, but you were talking about that overall amateur. You know, Alex Teagarden, when he gets up on the podium, he always touts his fitness, and he always talks about how he trains with, I believe, Steve Hatch. I don't want to speak for him. Look at that. Those are the Baylor boys back to back right there coming in. Talk about a family grudge match. It's like the days of old. Those two battling their way through the backyard. And there's he is.
Lane Michael coming into the finish line.
Wow.
He's only got a few more turns to go. He's going to have himself a podium right in the middle of the box, Johnny.
Yeah, how about it? You know, Lane, he's made the comment a few times on the podium here recently and said, yeah, another second. You know, he is not happy with seconds. Well, today he takes that 2, he slices one off of it and says, boy. It's making it interesting. It's a little risky there, but nonetheless, he's got a gap. He's gonna put this one in, and be interesting to see what these guys have to say on the podium. And is that, I think that might be Corey Buttrick in the background there, another good ride for that Ohio rider. But as we look and see, look to be that might have been Chris Bach that just crossed the line there. And here comes Lane Michael with the big win in the XC2 class. And man, that's got to be one happy guy. I'm sure that motorcycle's not happy as he revs it to the moon, but great run for him today and that Coastal Husqvarna team.
Lane Michael taking the XC2 Pro Lights win and 5th place overall when we look at the final records here.
I could be wrong, but I believe that pretty well almost has to be Lane's best overall finish, you know, that he's had in his career. So he's got to be proud of that one. You know, a tough weekend just a week ago, as that is Corey Buttrick now coming across the line there, possibly 9th or 10th in XC1.
He's 9th, yeah, 9th.
Yep, 9th in XC1.
So
Chris Bach did come in there just ahead of him on that JCR Honda.
Grant Baylor checking in 5th in class, 6th overall. Stu Baylor right behind him, 7th overall. Chris Bach was 8th overall. Corey Buttrick 9th overall. Still waiting on 10th overall as Josh Strang's name continues to drop down the chart right now to at least a 10th place position finish, and we know he's not going to be able to finish today. Mechanical issues there, just a mile and a half away from the finish line, which well, brought about a big change as far as the podium was concerned here today.
Yeah, and speaking of changing podiums, we've still got that XC2 battle coming in. We did see it was it had been 17 seconds between Trevor Bollinger and Craig DeLong, but DeLong was much closer when we saw him at the rock section there. So we'll see exactly how that one pans out. And that's actually a 3-way battle over only 2 spots on that podium because Nick Davis, as we saw, was glued to the rear wheel of Craig DeLong. And that looks as though it might be, I believe that's Bollinger. Our picture froze, but yes, it is. There is Trevor Bollinger. This would be second place in your XC2. And Rodney, doesn't this do something special? He's doing some fist pumping.
I think that might do it, Johnny. I think we might be looking at a new XC2 Pro Lights class champion as he rounds these final turns here in Ohio. And, man, what a great way to be able to put a seal on this one with a few-week break. And, of course, getting ready to head to Japan to represent the GNCC at the JNCCs. And put your hands together, folks.
Oh, look at that. Davis just put the stuff, and Craig DeLong passed him back.
Wow! That's not done, folks. Pan that camera. Turn it. We don't want to miss this. Those guys are absolutely not done racing. They are pulling. These guys are good friends, but Bollinger's just trying to celebrate a championship, but watch behind him.
Yeah.
Look at this. It's going to be DeLong.
Wow.
DeLong with the third place spot. Davis in fourth.
Man.
Wow, that was sketchy.
We've been waiting for that bar to bar with so many different guys, and all of a sudden, boom,
Wait,
they
look at
pulled
that
out.
right there. Did you see that? Those two, they just passed each other 3 times in the last couple turns, made some contact. They crossed the finish line, turned to each other, and a big high five.
That's fun racing, though. When you race like that.
What do you think, Rodney? Is that what GNCC racing's all about?
My friends, that is exactly what GNCC racing is all about. Man, I tell you, this is, it's funny, man. I talk to a lot of people, and, they say, how can you just stand to go out and do this week after week? If you go down to the starting line, you think it just becomes a routine. I'm telling you, each and every time that green flag waves out there, every time that I yell 10 seconds, I get that charge each and every time. And it's because of instances just like that, because that is what GNCC racing is all about. And it's seeing people dig deepest at the most inappropriate time, not necessarily inappropriate, but inconvenient times. 3 hours into a race, whenever you've already given everything that you can give, but somehow or another you find a way to give just a little bit more. And they gave that to us today, leaving it all out on the racetrack. It will be Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, Ricky Russell, 1, 2, and 3 in the XC1 and for the overall. And as far as the XC2 Pro Lights, Lane Michael taking the win in that second place position and capturing the XC2 Pro Lights National Championship title. Trevor Bollinger and Craig DeLong in a heated back and forth battle will end up taking the third place position there in the XC2 Pro Lights. We'll keep an eye on the top amateur, and GNCC Racing will continue with podium presentations right after this.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
The wrong coolant can give you bad stuff like this and this. You need the right stuff. Evans Waterless Engine Coolant. It's waterless for a reason. Smart guys make it and smart people use it. Don't take any chances. Get the right stuff. Go to evanscooling.com for more.
I've been with Liat for a lot of years, and I know the dedication they have for safety. When they told me they were coming out with a helmet, I signed right up.
At Rocky Mountain ATVMC, we want to help increase rider participation at your next race, rally, or club event with our free Race Gas program. Join Race Gas, and every rider that signs up for your event or club gets a free $10 gift card to Rocky Mountain ATVMC. It's that simple. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin here with Johnny Gallagher, Fred Andrews, and Megawatt Matt Watson. And we just wrapped up a nearly 3-hour nail-biter as Caleb Russell, under all kinds of pressure until the final moments of this race here in Ohio. Thad Duvall was right there on his rear wheel within 3 to 4 seconds until, like we said, just the last couple miles. Josh Strang right there in the thick and hunt of things early in the race, fell back about a minute, was maintaining a great race, had some mechanical issues. We saw looked like radiator issues, coolant issues. He goes out. Ricky Russell's able to motor ahead and capture the third place position overall and in the class. What a major day. And, of course, Caleb Russell also captured his fourth consecutive GNCC title. And not only that, we also say congratulations to Trevor Bollinger, who as well captured a title here today in Ohio. Looking at these overall results right now, Lane Michael, who won the XC2 Pro Lights class, finishing 5th place. I believe that is his best finish overall so far, and certainly a very highlightable day there. A highlight ride for Lane Michael. He'll be a big part of the highlight reel as far as this GNCC is concerned. So congratulations to you, Lane. We knew you had it in you, and it was just a matter of time before he matured into the rider that we're seeing him mature into right now. He finished 5th overall. The Baylor brothers, Grant and Stu, actually, Stu having some struggles today. We saw him outside the top 10 early on and then riding right inside the top 10. Well, late in the race, he made that push. He caught up to Grant. They pushed to the end. Grant was able to best him this week in 6th place position, only by 3.5 seconds as Stuart Baylor checked in the 7th place position overall. Chris Bach, whom we really didn't talk a whole lot about today, had a very solid ride. He'll finish 7th in class and 8th overall. And Corey Buttrick, another good, solid top 10 ride for that rider today on the SRT KTM, the teammate of Stu Baylor. Corey Buttrick will finish up in 9th place. Trevor Bollinger, 2nd in the XC2 Pro Lights, 10th overall. And I'm pretty sure that just sealed the deal on it, captured his first XC2 Pro Lights class title. Have already talked to him. He will be stepping up to the XC1 Pro class in 2017, so we will see a new face out there in that on that Honda machine for the XC2 or for the XC1 Pro class. So that's going to be something exciting to look for. We got Craig DeLong and Nick Davis finishing 11th and 12th overall. They were a 2.5 seconds by time, but if you watch that battle, you know they were so much closer. Benjamin Kelly, one of the riders out of the Connecticut area, out of Harwinton, Connecticut, a former teammate there with Joshua Toth. Benjamin finishing 13th overall. That should put him, I believe, 4th in class. Josh Toth will finish 5th in class and 14th overall, so he made a late race push as well to push up a few positions there. Michael Witkowski, he'll finish up 6th aboard the 282 and 15th overall. Russell Bobbitt will get 16th overall. Vance Francis, he's an XC2 Pro Lights rider, 17th overall. And we still haven't seen all of our top 20 check in because right now it looks like Josh Strang is checking in at 18th overall. So we're going to have a few minutes before we'll be able to actually clarify whether or not Zach Nolan will be able to make it 2 weeks in a row by taking the top amateur overall honors. And again, it's just a matter of time as we wait with bated breath. We saw that gap cut down quite a bit. Zach had probably a couple of minutes on the rest of the field after the first couple of laps of racing, and now heading into this final lap, he had a 45-second gap. And Alex Teagarden was actually running a 47-second faster lap time leading into this final lap of racing. So that's going to be exciting as far as all that is concerned. And as we look down onto the podium, looks like we're about to get things set up. We about ready to go down there, guys? I think we got a little bit more to go.
Hey, as soon as we get Caleb Russell down there, you know he's getting his number plate washed off and that type of thing. As soon as we get Caleb Russell down here, we've got everything set up and ready to get underway. We got some overall awards to present as well as some championships, some number 1 plates. So looking forward to that here. Just a couple minutes, should have Caleb down here. Everybody else ready to go. We'll get things underway.
All righty, thanks a lot, Megawatt. And that goes to show you, man, that's how excited Ricky Russell is. How about it for rough and rowdy Ricky Russell, man? That kid right there really starting to live up to the nickname, that wild West Coaster, the wild man from Washington right there. And he is certainly finding his own and his groove in the GNCC Racing Nation. And not only is it good to see Ricky up on the podium, it's good to see Suzuki back up on the podium like that as well. So a couple of great benchmarks here late in the season for not only a rider, but also for those who back him. Again, we continue to wait with bated breath, and I haven't seen the 20th place ride. Yes, we do have riders checking in, and check this out. 258 class riders have checked in with a 28, making sure I get this right, a little over 28-minute lap time. Zach Nolan is able to capture the win in this one by 9.1 seconds over Alex Teagarden in that 258 class, so he gets 18th and 19th overall, and Zach Nolan looks like he will get the go-ahead and top amateur overall from our American Cargo's folks here coming up shortly. We're looking at Braxton McGee and Tristan Landrum battling for that third place position in the top amateurs today. They are 25th and 26th from the 4-stroke A lights class. So, man, we've seen a lot of big changes taking place here in the last hour of racing at Powerline Park, as they like to call it around here, Paradise on the Hill. And look it up on Wikipedia, my friends. That's what everybody knows this area as, and it is certainly becoming a huge icon in the off-road racing world. 16 GNCCs have now been completed here in these great soils of Ohio. And again, pretty cool. The first winner here was an Ohio native, Fred Andrews, one of our former GNCC champions, and of course a co-host here on RacerTV.com. And to see Caleb Russell to be able to wrap up his championship here and do it in his birthplace and his home state there, if you will, of Ohio, is a great feat and a great honor for him. And I know the Ohio race fans appreciate this opportunity to be able to celebrate with their champion here today. And poor Ricky's just hoping to be able to get to celebrate sometime soon. He's just waiting on everybody right now.
Yeah, Rodney, should be just a couple more minutes. Believe he was putting that number 1 jersey on, like I said, wiping off that front number plate, but Caleb's arrival should be any moment now. As you said, Ricky Russell excited to get things underway down here, as well as Thad Duvall, so we'll get things started here in just one moment,
hey,
Rodney.
You know, we were talking about celebrations, Megan. Well, I want to take this opportunity to remind everyone of our banquet dates. They're coming up on Friday, November 25th. That is Black Friday, yes, the day after Thanksgiving, and we will have the ATV UTV banquet on that Friday night. That'll be taking place at the magnificent Waterfront Place Hotel and Convention Center in beautiful downtown Morgantown, West Virginia. You can go to GNCCRacing.com for more details on getting your room reservations at special discounted rates, as well as registering for the banquet itself. We will be honoring the top 10 in all of our national championship classes this week. And speaking of national championship classes and honoring, let's head down to the podium to honor our top 3 of the Powerline Park GNCC.
All right, thanks, Rodney. Got all the guys gathered up here right now. Hey, St. Clairsville, I'm going to ask you one time. Make some noise for our top 3 overall here today. Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, and Ricky Russell. We're going to get these guys over in the center of the podium real quick. Let them get that class picture taken. And I want to tell you something. Drama all the way from the very beginning today. Lead changes back and forth. Several different guys in that number 1 spot. That's it. Put your hands together again, St. Clairsville. Epic day of racing here. Got a couple overall awards to hand out, as well as a couple number 1 plates. So we're going to get right into it here. Not going to waste any more time on our podium. Ken Hill getting things shot out right here. Excellent opportunity for all you guys to get your pictures taken. Hey, right now, Ricky Russell, 3rd place today, man. Been down here talking about it a little bit. You had a great day. You had plenty left in the tank, man. Tell us what happened and how we got up here in 3rd place, bud.
Yeah, I got off to a decent start. We run in 3rd place at the beginning, and then Caleb and Thad got by me on the fresh section, and just was tight again on the first few laps. Was able to loosen up and then start riding my own race, but them 2 were gone. I think I kind of got a gift because Strang had some issues, but I'll take it. And I mean, 3rd place again. I'm just stoked to be up here and can't complain. So.
Noticing some subtle changes in the program myself. Are you making some changes? Are there some things leading to this consistency right now, second half of the season?
Yeah, of course. Suspension's a huge thing that we deal with at all different terrains, and kind of made some changes. And last race was the first race with the changes, and it's working. So just confident in my setup, and it's just able to come out here and do what I know what I can do.
Well, great ride, Ricky. I know you have a bunch of people you definitely want to say thanks to this week.
Yeah, of course, I got to thank MCS, Oldmeyer, Suzuki, MX Tech, Bellray, Fly Racing, Kenda Tires, Recluse, FMF, Sunstar Sprockets, YNS Design Graphics, Unibiker, Seat Concepts, Mitch, my mechanic, my mom and dad back home, my little sister, just everyone out here supporting us and cheering us on, and then my whole team, of course. So thank you, guys.
Awesome. Let's hear it, Ohio. Ricky Russell, 3rd place today. Over here in the 2nd position, you guys know this guy, number 5 here, Bad Thad Duvall. Bad Thad. I think you got a couple fans out there, bro.
Yeah, I tried to give these hometown fans the win, but just wasn't today.
I know one thing, you left it all on the track, 110% effort, not from lack of trying, but a couple small mistakes really cost us at the end.
Yeah, I felt good the whole race, and I was able to put in a couple good laps, and I was on the edge for sure, but I just I wanted to leave it all on the track like you said, and I was able to catch up to Caleb, and then we just kind of had our own race, and just my mistake the last lap, it was like the 5-mile marker, and there was a hill climb, and just we went down and went to a brand new line this lap, and Caleb kind of bobbled a little bit at the top, so I went right, and just I didn't make it over the log, so I fell, and I was stuck, and by the time I got out, that was like my last hurrah there, and I just came out in the field and noticed that no one was close to us, so I just kind of cruised the rest of the race, and just glad to get through this one safe and get the 6 days tomorrow.
Well, I know these folks are pumped for you. You've got a ton of people in your corner over the last several years, a ton of people cheering for you, fighting for you, and supporting you. Who would you like to say thank you to today here in Ohio?
Rocky Mountain ATV MC, Frank and Chrissy Keegan with KR4, AMSOIL, Maxxis Tires worked great all day, Husqvarna, Pro Circuit, my mom, my dad, my wife, DQ, my mechanic, WP Suspension, IMS, Enduro Engineering, Scott Goggles, 60 helmets, CD boots, and man, the fans today were awesome, and I love you guys. Thanks so much.
Let's hear it for Thad Duvall, second place here today. And over here in the middle, man, KR1. Caleb, tell us about today's win. And you told me earlier, you said, man, it wasn't fun necessarily today. It was slick. There was a lot of different conditions. Tell the fans in your words what happened out there on the track and what the conditions were about.
Yeah, it was, you know, I know why the quads like it so much. They can just, you know, drift around the whole track, basically. And there was half the track that I wasn't really getting along with, and the other half, you know, it was better. There was a little more traction to it. But, yeah, I didn't get off to the greatest of starts again, but at least my bike started this time, and I wasn't completely last, and made some moves, and we got up into the lead, and I pulled a little gap, and I tried to just settle into a pace because it was like I said, it was really slick, and you know, it was kind of you're teeter-tottering on the edge, and I didn't really want to hit the ground today, and you know, it wasn't fast enough. Thad and Josh caught back up, and then I tried to go again to stabilize it, and then Thad ended up catching me, and we just kind of rode together the a lap and a half there, and like he said, I didn't even realize he went down until I got the pit board. You know, a few miles after that, I was, you know, kind of still trying to focus on the task at hand and getting the win done, but he was riding good, and you know, it was, you know, as much as I didn't agree with the track, you know, I'm happy to get the win, and I had a good time. Happy to wrap up the championship, and I got to thank, you know, all these awesome fans for coming out and cheering, and I know it's a bummer the mud hole wasn't that great this year. I was bummed. I was bummed too on that one, but yeah, like I said, I got to thank the whole FMF Red Bull KTM team, my wife, my mechanic Tanner, my whole family, Racer Productions, Dunlop Tires, the Bell Helmet, Scott Goggles, CD Boots, Cherubies, and yeah, just thank you.
Well, awesome. Congratulations on that overall win today. At this time, I'd like to bring over Mr. Roy Jansen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you our Director of Racing at MX Sports and Racer Productions, Mr. Roy Jansen.
Thanks, Matt. Well, it's always a pleasure. Again, congratulations on another great championship. This is 4, one closer to Rodney and Scott. Eddie's pretty far, but one closer. On behalf of the entire GNCC racing community, it is our pleasure, it's an honor, to again present you with another #1 plate. We race for championships. Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you.
Matt.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jansen. Congratulations to Caleb. We're going to hand out these bottles right now. These guys know exactly what to do, and you fans down front know exactly what's coming. It's time to get a drink and take a shower right now. Make some noise one more time, Ohio, for our top 3 overall. Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, and Ricky Russell rounding out the podium.
Well, here it comes, folks. So the victor goes, the spoils, and the spoils in GNCC. The sweet, sweet spray of champagne as the champagne rains down on the crowd out front there. And again, we have a Four-time champion now in Caleb Russell. We take a look at the Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com Powerline Park overall results. It's Russell Duvall and Ricky Russell in third. Jordan Ashburn was fourth. Lane Michael with a stellar finish today and winning the XC2 Pro Lights class, fifth place overall. Grant Baylor in sixth. Seventh place is Stuart Baylor. Eighth place Chris Bach. Corey Buttrick finishing up in ninth. Rounding out the top 10. He'll be up on the podium in just a few moments as well. He took second in the XC2 Pro Lights, and we're about to crown another champion. Stick around. GNCC Live continues and more podium presentations after this.
When it comes to protecting your engine, AMSOIL offers the next level performance truck owners demand. AMSOIL provides 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard, extending the life of pistons and cams. Give the vehicle you love the above and beyond fortification it deserves. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
Maxxis Tires.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, our goal has always been to get you the best price and provide quality service. Now, we're giving you one more reason to shop with Rocky Mountain. We call it Quick Cash. It's simple to get. Just place an order with a qualifying Quick Cash item and get cash to spend on your next order. Try it out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live here from beautiful Powerline Park in St. Clairsville, Ohio. It's Paradise on the Hill, our 16th running of this Powerline Park GNCC, and the first ever win again by Fred Andrews back in 2002, I believe it was, an Ohio racer, and of course good to see that he was able to accomplish that, and good to see that Caleb was able to get it, that fourth championship right here in his home state. By the way, a few little interesting tidbits being here in Ohio. Of course, this being our second stop here in 2016. Just to let you know, the first GNCC ever ran in Ohio was in 1988 in Waterford, Ohio, located about an hour and 20 minutes southeast of where we are right now, approximately 83 miles away. It was called the Buckeye 100 and was won by the 9-time GNCC champ Eddie Lojak on a Husqvarna. And speaking of Husqvarnas, we got one in the center of the box right now here for our XC2 Pro Lights class, and a top 5 overall finisher there in the center of the box as well for Lane Michael. And of course, we get set to head down to the podium because we got a lot of great things to celebrate. And Matt, I tell you, this is a great place to be in Ohio today here at the GNCC.
All right, thanks a lot, Rodney. One more time, Ohio. Put your hands together this time for our XC2 Pro Lights winners. Lane Michael today with a big win. Right now, Trevor Bollinger in second place, and we're going to move over here to third place right now, Craig DeLong. Craig, man, oh man, glad to see you up here on the podium. A great ride today.
Yeah, it's been a while since snowshoe before summer break, so I had a good race going and battled all day with I was run second for a while, and then Nick and Trevor called me for a while, and we were battling, and Trevor got away from us in the last lap. Nick and I were going back and forth the whole last lap, and it was a blast, man. It was like we were out practicing together and just having a good time.
Did get the whole shot, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. Well, we're going to present that to you in 1 second, but tell us a little more about the race, man.
I got a good start, and then I led for a little bit, and Lane, he's been super fast off the start, so got around me real quick, and I didn't really see him very long. So he killed it, and, not much really happened other than that, just kind of try to stay smooth and steady and not make as many mistakes, because it's super slick out here and just it's tricky. So just want to get a solid ride in. I've been off the podium, so I want to get back on here and start from scratch,
Well, a great way to do that. Get back up on the podium, starting from scratch. We're going to hand you this right here. This is your XC2 Bike Hole Shot Award, courtesy of Hot Cams, an extra $100. Let's hear it, you guys, for Craig DeLong today in third place. Craig, tell us who all you want to say thanks to today, bud.
I got to thank the whole Coastal Race team, MSR, Husqvarna, Scott and Barry, Pro Taper, Handlebars, Bell Rail Wheels, Chirby's, Stuck MX, FMF, Dunlop, IMS, Garnet Boots, my mom, my dad, my brother, all my family and friends, Factory Connection, 100%, DP Brakes, awesome job to Trevor on a great year, and good job to Lane, so thank you.
Let's hear it for Craig DeLong, you guys. All right, over here to TB10 right now. Looks like we're missing a digit. Trevor on the front of that bike right now. Hey, congratulations on a great ride. Came from a good bit back in the pack today. Really poured it on. Came on that second half of the race like you've been so accustomed to, really showing your strengths. And, man, oh, man, put it up here on the podium. And we got something special to award you here just shortly. So tell us about today's race.
Yeah, I got off to a pretty bad start, and I knew it was going to be tough today with how hard pack and slick the track was. I just put my head down and tried to do the best I could. I knew if Craig won, all I had to do was get fourth to wrap this thing up. So, and that's what I mean. Of course, yeah, I wanted to win, and hats off to Lane. No excuses, but yeah, I come here for the championship, so I'm happy.
Well, speaking of the championship, right now we're going to bring Mr. Roy Jansen over, our director of racing here at MX Sports and Racer Productions. Mr. Jansen.
Thank you again, and congratulations on a great year. It is on behalf of Racer Productions, MX Sports, RacerTV. It is our privilege and the entire GNCC community to present you with this #1 plate. It's why we race. Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jansen. Appreciate it. Trevor, know you got a bunch of people behind you, man. Know you're emotional right now, buddy. We've watched a lot of stuff go down in your career, and right now I know you've got some people that have really stood behind you and some people that stepped up over the last year that had a lot of faith in you, and I know you want to say thanks to all of them right now, my man.
Yeah, the whole JCR Honda team, Eric for building a great bike all year, Johnny for picking me up this year, and all my family, Brandon, Dad, Howard, Mom. Thanks, Mom, for coming. Grandpa. IMS, Max at Fly. He come out today to see me wrap this thing up. I'm pretty lost for words, but just thanks for everybody, and it was a good year.
It was a great year. Let's hear it for TB1 now. Trevor Bollinger, your new XC2 national champion. And over here with a big win today. Lane, come on up here, man. A little bit of retribution today, man. A little bit of self-gratification, and kind of really delivered that win that you were looking for last week. So tell us how you made it happen, bud.
Yeah, it was good. I got off to a decent start. I kind of banged myself around there in the first few turns, and got up to the lead, I don't know, probably 2-3 miles in. And after I got in the lead, I just kind of, got in my groove and tried to push as hard as I could without making the mistakes, because it was really easy to do those first few laps. It was so slick. So, yeah, I just kind of got in my groove, and then I got a pit board, I think, like second lap, saying I had a minute up. And, I was good. That's what I kind of wanted to do, is kind of get by myself again. And, I got hooked up with Grant and a few other guys. And, that was key, to push hard enough to get up to those guys. And then you can just ride with them, because, especially Grant, he's real strong at the end of the races. And it was good. I hung with him pretty much all day. Rode with Corey Buttrick, Chris Bach a little bit, and even Stu a little bit on that last lap. And, coming through the rock garden out there in the field last lap, I ended up, must have tagged a rock just right, and I bent my rear rotor to where I didn't have any rear brakes the last few miles. But, I rode a good race, and I had enough lead to where I was able to just kind of cruise to the finish. And, congrats to Trevor on the championship. He worked hard for it this year, and congratulations to him. And, it feels good. These last 4 rounds I've been riding, or last 3 rounds I've been riding really good, so hopefully we carry the momentum into the last one.
Your whole career, man, you've had a great support team. You've had a lot of people behind you your entire career, and it's easy to tell when Lane Michael feels good. I saw you feet up, drifting that thing in 4th gear, man. You were laying across the crossbar pad, feet up. What does it feel like, man, when you're in the zone that much and you're out front leading?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. These first few laps that I've been able to put down, they've been, really solid. I don't know. I've been pretty lucky. I haven't got arm pump like I normally do, and it's just nice to be able to go out, get in your groove and, ride those fast first few laps. And, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it stays this way, It's nice to be able to feel that way, and then, just finish the race strong. And, that's what I did, and hopefully we can do it one more round.
Hopefully so, man. And tell us who you want to say thanks to today.
Yeah, definitely got to thank my dad, all the work he does on the bike. Then, my whole family, my girlfriend, my cousins came out today, my sister, and just everyone. I really appreciate all your guys' support, and all the fans cheer me on, and I'd like to thank Coastal Racing, Husqvarna, Bell Ray, MSR, Scott Goggles, Bell Helmets, Garnet Boots, FMF, Factory Connection, VP Fuels, and just everyone that supports this team. They're the people that make the wheels go around, and let's finish this last one off strong.
Said like a true winner. Let's hear it right now for Lane Michael. Lane, you know exactly what to do with that. We're going to reset the podium one more time, put our amateurs up here, and then we're going to turn it over to our champions, the KTM team and the JCR team. Easy E, congratulations, brother.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
A lot of hard work went into this one, huh, buddy?
Yeah, we keep plugging away, and I rebuilt the motor before this last race, and just keeping them fresh for them.
Well, congratulations to you and the whole team, bud.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Well, there you have it, folks. Ah, man, another race day coming to an end here in the GNCC Racing Nation. It's hard to believe that we are some 12 races into this championship. Just one more to go. We'll be back, I believe it's the weekend of the 29th, if I'm not mistaken, for our final round there at the Ironman GNCC. And though all the championship has been wrapped up, that race always still lends itself to have a lot of nostalgia, a lot of historic moments, and a lot of just great memories. And folks, if you get a chance, we hope that you'll join us there in Crawfordsville, Indiana for the Ironman GNCC, because it has certainly been a rather exciting 20-plus years that we've been able to spend over there, and to watch that facility grow into what it has grown into now. It is just an amazing place to be as far as in the off-road racing world. We are getting ready to set the podium with our top amateurs, overall amateurs. Zach Nolan, we are looking at right now, according to my timing and scoring, at 18th place overall. The winner of the 250A bike class ends up winning by only 9.1 seconds over Alex Teagarden, who made up some major ground over the course of the last hour of racing there. And then back a little bit further is some four-stroke A lights class riders that are battled. It looks like down to the wire, looking for Braxton McGee, 25th, and Tristan Landrum in 26th place overall. And I don't know that they made it in yet, according to timing and scoring. We'll just have to update. I believe maybe they have, as we update that. And just to get the official word on that, Braxton McGee finishes 22nd overall to get your four-stroke A lights win, and third place, if I'm not mistaken, on the podium.
All right, folks, let's hear it one more time for your top three overall amateurs. Braxton McGee in third. We got down here Alex Teagarden in second, and Zach Nolan, your overall amateur. All right, we're going to start down here with you, Braxton. This is 2 weeks in a row for you being up here. We saw you out there today. You were able to get that win in the four-stroke A lights class and be up here on this overall amateur podium. Tell us a little bit about how the day went for you.
Yeah, it was good. A few mistakes in the beginning, but kind of calmed down and rode my own race. And Tristan caught up to me at the end of the race, and somehow or another he got tangled up with a lapper on the last lap, and it would have been a battle if he wouldn't have, but yeah.
We saw you guys were getting really close there in time, so he actually was able to close the gap, and you guys had it out on the last lap there?
Oh, yeah, he about passed me one time.
Well, that sounds like a hard-fought battle to be up here with the win today and on the overall amateur podium. That makes it a great day. I know you got a lot of people that you want to thank for helping you get up here.
Yeah, definitely God first, Maxis Motivation, Fly, AXA, Fox Shock, HBD, Sunstar, Palmer, and Josh String.
All right, thanks. Let's hear it one more time for Braxton McGee as we work our way down here. Alex Teagarden, you're second place in 250A, second overall amateur. I heard there was some really close racing action on the last lap. We were looking at the lap times. You were 45 seconds down, and the second to last lap, you were 47 seconds faster. So the master mathematician up there, Rodney Tomlin, said, I think this is going to be a close race. I overheard, I didn't get to see it. I heard you actually did get either close to him or to possibly the lead on that last lap. How'd it go?
It went good. I guess I made the pass. I made the push and made the pass there on the last lap and reached up to clean my goggles, and one of these glassy downhills that got the best of me, and I went down pretty hard. Bars were super twisted, so I got up and tried to charge back and get by him again, and it just wasn't happening. The day started off bad. I worked my way up with him and fell over, and couldn't get the bike started for about a minute. the rows behind me actually had got by me. So the day started off bad, but I dug really deep and pushed extremely hard and made the comeback and was there. And I just pushed too late.
Well, you know, to be able to come all the way from back there, like you said, getting passed by the rows behind you, it says a lot about your determination here today. And I know you don't do it alone. You got a lot of people that you want to thank. We're going to give you a chance to thank those now.
Yeah, thanks. So I got to thank Dad first and foremost. Puts together an awesome program for me. Thank Waynesburg Yamaha, Brian Basco, Factory Connection, Stuck MX, Steve Hatch Racing, Mouse Pratt for letting me ride at his house all week. The Coastal Racing team was awesome to me today. Got some eyes out there for me, and I knew I could make it through all the tough sections out there because I knew I had those guys. So big shout out to them. Thanks to the rest of my family for supporting me and putting up with how much I do for this. So thanks, guys.
All right, folks, Alex Teagarden, second place in 258, second overall amateur. And here he is, the guy in the middle again, second week in a row. Not your hometown track this time, but pretty close to home still. I know you got a lot of fans out here, Zach, and heck of a ride today. It almost looked like at the beginning you were going to run away with this one. You got out front early. I didn't get to see it, but they said you did grab the whole shot, so that's a great way to start it off. You stretched it out early, and it sounds like things might have gotten a little closer there towards the end. Tell us a little bit about the day from your perspective.
Yeah, I got a good jump on the line, and I thought I was gonna be able to have a pretty easy day, but I should know better because Teagarden, he always reels me in at the end. He pushes all day long, and I got my second pit, and my dad said, "You better pick it up. He's right there. He's right there." So I just charged as hard as I could. He got around me. There wasn't nothing I could do about it, so I just tried to stay right there with him, maybe put a little bit of pressure on him, and like you said, he had a mistake there at the end and just wasn't able to get it back together. But he had a good ride, and I had a good ride, and it was a good time.
Well, I'll tell you what, a long time ago somebody told me a win's a win, even if it's not pretty. So, you know, it's pretty nice to hold that check there. A little bit of extra traveling money from the folks at American Cargo. They're helping you out there. You got your overall trophy in the middle. And, you know, he had that laugh on the last lap, but today you get to last laugh. You guys get to do this one more time in just a month. And I got to tell you, folks, as you're out there, this has been an ongoing thing all year between these two and Braxton and several of the others that have been up here a number of times. And, you know, they lay it all on the line. Amateur racing at its finest. And I know you can't do this alone. There's a lot of people that help you get up here today and all season long.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to thank my mom, dad, brother, my girlfriend. I want to thank all the TV Energy Racing fans and crew and kids and moms and dads and everybody that points me lines or gives me pit boards, goggles, water, whatever I need. I want to thank Bill Daly at Outlaw Motorsports, Richie Nolan at RM Performance. I want to thank Grenade Coatings, Gabe Phillips at Grenade Coatings. I want to thank Todd at TV Energy Racing. I think that's about it. I don't know who I'll forget. Well, I want to thank Factory Connection. Suspension worked good again. So anybody else I forgot, and my buddy Levi.
All right, folks, there he is, your top 3 overall amateur. I'm going to hold this check for him and give him a chance. I think we got a bottle of champagne down there for him that he gets to spray. I got your bike. The deal is I hold the bike, I don't get sprayed. That is, I got this microphone, it's real expensive. I got some people running, but we got a bunch of people up front here that are ready to get sprayed. Let's hear it, folks, one more time. 3rd place overall amateur, Braxton McGee. 2nd place, Alex Teagarden. And your overall amateur, Zach Nolan. And back to you, Rodney.
All righty. Thanks a lot, Johnny Gallagher, and congratulations to all here today, because whether you were on the podium or not, if you made your way here to the Powerline Park GNCC, you had yourself a great time. You also had yourself some obstacles, whether you were spectating or whether you were racing, and it was certainly a very memorable championship weekend here at St. Clairsville. I got to say, I don't recall ever crowning as many champions at one particular race as what we did here this weekend, and what a great way to wrap up the 16th running of the Polaris Ace Powerline Park GNCC. On behalf of my co-hosts today, Fred Andrews, Matt Watson, Johnny Gallagher, I'm Rodney Tomlin, saying good day, everybody.
Check 1 2 3. Check 1 2. Mic check. Any static? Sound.